What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of That Scuffed Up, episode 28. You may notice that Steven's background's a little different. He's over in Arizona at the very moment, so he'll be bouncing back and forth between here and California because that's what he can do with a little bit of editing magic. Over here on the other side, we have crowned some new champions this season. We got some games to go over. We have three series in particular with the Purple League, Division 2, and Division 1. We have brand new victors. We're going to have tons of special guests on this show, including Joey Ponder, Michael Vees, and then didn't have a really get a guest for Division 1 because we already got the guest right here. He's right looking at us. Steven, how you doing today, my friend?
We're feeling good. To celebrate a World Series title, I decided to take a trip to Arizona. I wish that were true, but I'm actually in Arizona currently. On Saturday, the 21st of October, is the big BLW tournament out here in Arizona, playing at Goodyear Park in Goodyear. It's where the Cleveland Guardians and the Cincinnati Reds play their spring training games. So. Pretty excited for this. My first time out here. A lot of the guys here, it's their second time out here, so looking forward to it. But we got some other things to focus on. Some things that just happened in the past. We did it again two times in 3 seasons. We were able to do it. LA Wolves OC champions again. We had a great 5-0 run. Didn't lose the game this time, unlike the spring 2023 World Series, and here we are. I had a very good playoffs, and as well as this is my team. We'll get more into that later on.
Yeah, talk about a very immaculate run in the playoffs. Your prediction, you got a couple predictions. I got some predictions. Some of them could have gone through. It was a very wild week of playtime, and we're gonna go over every single one of those things. Starting off with the Purple League, then we'll get to Division 2 and then Division 1 to keep the dessert on there. So let's get to our appetizer today. We got the Purple League we want to talk about. Obviously, this is the new part of the league that has come since last season. Purple League being that fun league, less teams. More here for the recreational aspect. We've got diversity in terms of gender, diversity-wise. It was pretty fun, and it looked like they were having fun out there, aside from us playing games at the same time, but it was pretty epic to watch a lot of those games out there. It was pretty sweet. I obviously we didn't get too much of a chance to really take a look at some of those games too much since we were focused on our stuff as well. We didn't have a World Series, broadcast this year because we're playing in it, so it's a little different, little different terms of. But obviously, when we get down to Division 1, we're going to talk about everything that basically went down in that. But let's talk about the Purple League. We were talking about the first few games, the championship series, which was not really championship series, but between the Sheeps and Wiffle Does. You had a prediction, I had a prediction. Remind me what your prediction was again.
So for the Purple League, I actually had the Sheeps winning the whole thing. I had them winning this game, and then I had them defeating the Glizzy Gladiators in the final. As we'll talk more about with Joey Ponder later. I was proven wrong, but I chose the Sheeps, and they were very close in the end. Almost had them in Game 3, but unfortunately for my pick, and fortunately for the Glizzy Gladiators, they were able to come out on top.
Yeah, so I believe I picked the Glizzy Gladiators to win this one, which is epic. So thank you for giving me that dub. And thank you for giving Steven his first loss on the prediction list. But going more in depth into this game between the Sheeps and Wiffle Does, from what it seemed like, it was actually a pretty high-scoring game, like we always expected with the Purple League, and that's exactly what we had going on here with this game. So it turned out Wiffle Does, who we thought was actually going to do pretty good in this game, they actually did do pretty good, but the Sheeps prevail, and they made it to the World Series of the Purple League, winning by a score of 16-1 in that.
Yeah, pretty close game. This is one of the 5:30 games, so this one happened pretty quickly. The teams were in and out of there, except for Wiffle Does, who had to go play in another series. But Sheep's able to come out on top. When you have Anthony Arusa and Matt Hornich out there, anything can happen. They were able to get the job done, move on to the World Series. And I know Wiffle Does were a pretty good team, but record-wise, the Sheeps were a bit ahead of them. I believe the Chiefs were clearly in second place. If I look at the standings here, the Chiefs had a 6-3-1 record, and the Wiffle Doughs had a 3-6-1 record. So overall, I mean, these records are flipped, but people saw Wiffle Doughs as a pretty good team, and it's a pretty good, pretty close series in general. So good to see, and the Chiefs move on to take on the Glizzy Gladiators.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we'll talk about with this World Series 3-game series. All in all, I think our expectation that this would go 3 games. We had the Glizzy Gladiators versus the Sheeps in 3 games actually, and we'll have Joey Ponder talk to us more about that detail. So we've got the first game with the Sheeps winning that first one, 14-11. So they came out with a pretty good hot hand. And then the Gladiators came back and returned the favor, really keeping the Sheeps on the down low with the 13-2 score. And then ultimately the Glizzy Gladiators prevailed in actually a pretty tight Game 3. So this one was pretty fun to watch if you were paying attention to what was happening. And you can actually check it out back on the Glizzy Gladiators YouTube channel if you want to see that entire series. But Glizzy Gladiators win their game 7-5. They are crowned the inaugural champions of the Purple League.
That they are, congratulations to them. We'll get more into that a little bit. But for those scores, Sheeps came out on top 14-11. As I'll talk with Joey Ponder, we'll talk about his feelings and how his team was doing. And then Glizzy Gladiators took over in Game 2, winning that one 13-2. And then in Game 3, it was a very close game. Glizzy Gladiators able to come out on top 7-5 and take that inaugural championship. For the Purple League, it's the first time we've had different divisions within OC Wiffle Ball. So the first time we've had a specific division for co-ed. So congratulations to the Glizzy Gladiators, and we'll get more into detail about the Glizzy Gladiators season and their playoff results after just a little bit. But I do know the Glizzy Gladiators were kind of surprised to see the Sheeps. Maybe it was a bad surprise. Maybe they didn't want to see the Chiefs. Maybe they'd rather see Wiffle Doughs. But we'll get more into that with Joey Ponder soon.
Yeah, so our next part of this segment is we're having Joey Ponder on. So let's get him on here, get our special guest on here for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Joey Ponder. All right, guys, joining us on the show right now is a very esteemed man himself, leader of the Glizzy Gladiators, content creator, masterful genius, Joey Ponder. How are we doing today, Joey? He's got the cool Pit Vipers Ducks jersey. How's the flow going, my man?
It has been an absolute whirlwind of the last 24 hours from, winning a championship to parades at Disneyland. It's been crazy. But I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you guys inviting me on. And, I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, longtime buddy of ours from Tuesday nights. First time he's ever making his appearance on this show here with us today. So glad to have him. We got a lot that we want to share and talk with you about. Obviously, you guys have a big victory on your hands. You guys are part of a new, different thing called the Purple League. We know you split some of your time between Purple League and MS Warriors. Give us a little preview, though. We know, you got your group of guys and girls on that team, trying something a little different this year just to have a little bit more fun. You're creating content. You got a mic'd up series. You've got live games, live streaming, all that kind of stuff. Keeping an audience engaged, like we do here on this show. How was that overall, being able to do that this season?
It was a ton of work. And it wasn't just me. Every person on that team is responsible for some aspect of our social media, the streams, every ounce of it. But it was awesome. I think this is a great league. It's a great thing. And, I saw an opportunity to potentially expand it, hopefully to other audiences. And that's kind of what our goal was, right? Let's have fun with it. Let's enjoy, our time out there and maybe get some more people interested that maybe never thought about playing wiffle ball before. Maybe haven't done it since they were kids, and showing, hey, we can still have fun even at 30.
You're a spitting image of what that is meant to be.
That is me. Yeah, that is my life.
It's a pretty fun life. Like if you ask me, I see you've got your cup of beer back there, a little bit
Absolutely.
of Celsius, just staying up
We're
late.
celebrating.
Yeah. Are we officially sponsored now?
Yes, officially sponsored by Celsius. We have Oasis here. It's delicious. It's nutritious. It's 10 calories. If you're looking to lose some weight, still get that punch, Celsius is the way to go.
Love
We
it.
have it at every single game.
I think mine's is I think it's called Peach Vibe. I don't know. That one's really good. Love that flavor.
Top notch.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Well, let's get into it though. We got the big game that we got to talk to you guys about. You guys obviously get the bye because you were the top seed the entire season. You're waiting on who's gonna win between the Sheeps and the Wiffle Does. I'll have Steven jump in here whenever he'd like to. While we're having this conversation. But
Sure.
you guys are chilling out there, waiting for your chance to get out there. What was your guys' expectation? Who do you think was gonna make it through?
Honestly, we were shocked when, I shouldn't say shocked, but we were pretty surprised when we heard that the Sheeps had made it through. Wiffle Does, we played them, I think, 3 times this season. I mean, they played us. It was always a tight game, 1-2 runs. Their pitching was phenomenal all season. Their hitting was timely. It was a big shocker when we saw the Sheeps, but at the same time, I mean, the Sheeps had some absolute studs on their team, both guys and girls. So we knew we were in for a hell of a matchup once we got the news.
Who have you guys have been relying on for most of the season to really keep the energy going? I mean, I know obviously you're the biggest part of it, so we'll exclude you out of that conversation. But who's the cheerleader on that team for you guys?
To be honest with you, it's a group effort. It really was. I mean, each person had their role, right? Shelby Balin, she actually doesn't know this yet, and I'm pretty sure I just butchered her last name. It's been 8 weeks, and I still can't get it right. But she was our Glizzy MVP of the season. She, held it down for us on the mound. She swung the heck out of the bat. But, I mean, Kylie Garcia was always getting the team going. Benny the Jet, there for a quick laugh. Sonoda, another guy, just always picking everybody up. From someone that we could all gather around and just laugh at uncontrollably whenever we needed to. And Andrew D. Giovanbattista, when we wanted to bring somebody down and really, tell them how bad they were, we could just look right at them and let them know, hey, you suck. And I'm glad I'm not you.
I'm glad we're having that kind of fun out there.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Steven and I know Kyle Froome a lot as well. He's had his moments, but other than that, pretty cool guy. We love him as a person, individual, in the right moments. Yeah.
An interesting fact for you: Kyle Froome actually led the purple division this year with most face shots. I think he got hit a grand total of 4 times straight in the dome. It was pretty impressive. Whether he was in the field, up in the box, that guy got smoked.
He's just a big magnet, just a ball magnet.
Big target.
Big target.
Yeah, big glizzy magnet.
Do you think that had something to do with just the way he looks sometimes, or just?
I think people just don't like Minnesotans. I think that's just a league-wide thing. They knew he was from there. They said, "Hey, this guy doesn't belong. Let's smoke him." Yeah, that's what happened.
Those Minnesotans,
Yeah, we'll get more into it a little later with some other stuff.
Yeah.
We'll talk about more if that happened to me. But I honestly, I'm not a Minnesotan. I'm not sure what happened with me. But let's get back to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got smoked with 80 miles an hour to that.
We all saw that from the other field. It was crazy.
Yeah. Let's get. Sorry, I just tried to put that in. We'll talk more about that.
That was a fastball. Well, anyways, let's get back into it. So now you guys are facing the Sheeps. You guys got game 1 ahead of you. You're going into this game. You're like, wow, the Sheeps just got here, and all of a sudden, Sheeps could jump out in front of you guys, 14-11 in your guys' first game. High scoring.
Yeah, I think they put up a 6 or 7 spot on us in the first inning. Shelby, she struggled to find the zone. I came in and gave up an absolute nuke that I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could check my watch. It's probably still hasn't landed yet to the undoubted MVP of the league, Anthony. But it's crazy. We battled back. Yeah, we lost that game, but we showed a lot of life, and I think that's what really led into the game 2 of just exploding, both on the mound as well as up in the box. So yeah, it was game 1. It was a crazy. The vibes were not there. They just weren't. It wasn't the Glizzy vibe, and that's why I think we ultimately lost that game. So.
Well, do you usually typically see, like, when you guys have a bye week, it kind of takes some time to kind of get the gears going a little bit. I know a lot of first round bye teams usually don't start kicking things off until later in the game because they've had that rest, they're not getting into the groove, and Sheeps just came off of a victory against Wiffle Does. Do you think that had to play like a small little factor sometimes in those situations?
I absolutely think it led to that game 1 kind of. I'll call it a mishap on our end. Those first 2 innings, we weren't ready to go, and they came out and they popped us right in the mouth. And they had Monday, so they definitely were tuned up, ready to roll. And it took us a minute to kind of wake up from that hit, but we got there. It took a little time. So.
Well, I think it was pretty evidently so. And you guys, like you just mentioned about the second game. Now you guys are getting a little bit of revenge, and then you pick it up in the second game. Now it's 13-2, and you guys took game 2 to tie that series against the Sheeps.
Yeah, that game, I believe it was the first inning we put up 1 or 2, and then the second inning we just exploded. I mean, 1 through 7 in the lineup, 1 through 7 in the lineup, we couldn't be stopped. I mean, every single person, it was just missile after missile, and even the balls that we weren't hitting hard, we're finding holes. It was a pretty good showing of what the Glizzes are capable of when they're all on, and it is a scary lineup. There are no soft spots. Just saying.
I like the presentation, about your people. You gotta rally your people around you, right?
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, I guess my question is I know it's a fun league, it's not, we're not taking it too seriously, but, did you tell your people, some adjustment things, what do we have to fix, was there something that you could tell the vibe was a little different in that second game?
Yeah, so the first game, it was, it reminded me a lot of playing in the upper divisions, where it was pretty serious. All right, guys were getting on each other, guys and girls were getting on each other as far as different things that they saw while trying to be constructive about it. And that's not what made us successful as a team, right? What made us successful as a team was honestly laughing at each other, laughing at ourselves, and really rallying around kind of picking on one teammate for the day and really just putting them in the dirt. And we definitely got into that in game 2, and it was evident, and we never looked back after that. So that was definitely, it was like 2 different teams. It was like flipping a switch. So yeah, it was good to see, though. Good to see.
It's a very interesting regimen of keeping your people in line. A little different than what a lot of other coaches typically do, but I guess obviously it worked here in this scenario. So, I mean, the recipe plays out there. Now you guys are getting into game 3. You guys have a series tied. What are you guys thinking?
What really we relied on what got us there. Shelby, like I said, Shelby Balin on the mound was just unstoppable this season. She threw the most innings for us, and we knew we were going to roll. We weren't going to change a thing. We were going to roll her out there and let her do her thing. And, I ended up having to start the game. But after that, she came in and she was lights out. I think she went 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 again. I mean, she was just unhittable. I mean, nobody. She even held down Anthony, who I think hit like 800 in the World Series. I mean, he was on fire. But yeah, she brought the smoke for sure.
Yeah, the commissioner just having a little fun down there in the Purple League. Just trying to have some easy hits, right? Just doing what he's got.
We love to see him.
Yeah.
We love to see him. He's a great guy, and he's a hell of a wiffle ball player. And Yeah, but Shelby had his number yesterday after game one. Game one, he lit us up pretty good. It was ugly.
Oh man. Well, the outcome of this game, you guys get out on top. How did that? What was running through you guys' mind? Before that final out came out.
So I ran out of pitching, so I was done. And we knew we had to rely on our backbone, like I said, all year. And we rolled Shelby out. And I believe it was Andrew D. Giovanbattista, the Aussie assassin, who made a hell of a play in the last inning to really solidify that win. But, it was just the same things that we'd been doing all season, the same people who were just being reliable in the roles we needed them to. And it worked out pretty dang well for us. We knew didn't need to change a thing. Just let the glizzies go. Glizzies gone wild. That's what we call it.
We love it. The Seals have got the flippers. Wiffle's got the oranges. You guys got the glizzy.
Do we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You never looked at your patch before?
That ain't really an orange, but all right.
You see the Instagram page, we got the oranges rolling in the back. The logo's an orange, It's supposed to. Well, it's meant to be an orange. At least that's what my first impression was creating that logo. So that's what that was meant to be. But anyways, after that final out goes out, you guys finally are on top. You guys are kings of the Purple League for the first time ever in Purple League history. How was that celebration like for you guys? Walk us through everything.
Oh, it was crazy. The Celsius, they were flowing. We brought some glizzies out there, and we were all, eating them and doing God knows what with them. There's pictures all over the Instagram if you want to go check it out. It was pretty wild. I think we even threw some at the Seals after they won the World Series. So they kind of looked at us like, what the hell is going on here? But yeah. It was a wild time. We ended up at our celebratory spot, the old Walnut Room, and somehow I ended up in my bed later that night, and that was that's what happened.
What's the Walnut Room? What is that?
The Walnut Room is the sacred spot of the Purple Huskies, MS Warriors, and now the Glizzy Gladiators, where we go Tuesday nights. Shout out to our girl McKenna. She's an amazing bartender, and it's great vibes, great games, great beer. Whatever you're into, water, soda, they got it all. So we just had some for the boys and girls.
Do they have Celsius there?
Oh, they've got. Oh, do they have Celsius?
I just have to make sure.
The Glizzies would never go anywhere without Celsius.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, we need our Celsius. Otherwise, we don't function properly. Like game one.
Yeah.
Saying.
So at the Walnut Corner, are you guys going to create a cocktail potentially, like of Celsius and Glizzy together and create, I don't know, like the Glizzy Crusher or something like that?
There are some things in the works. We do have some potential sponsorships coming up for the Gladiators that we've been in the talks with. I don't want to go too much into detail, but the Walnut Room is definitely one of them. Wiener Schnitzel's been reaching out quite a bit. We're holding off on that one. And then some town in Germany has been adamant about our team, and I guess they're just really passionate about Glizzies. So, yeah,
as the Germans are.
Yeah, they love their Glizzies. So.
100%. Well, let me turn it to Steven, if he's got any questions for our friend here, about their win.
Yeah, I'll kind of turn it more to you in general. Just you as a person, the player of this league. Your first was your first season joining this league. Was it the fall of last year? Or was it the spring of this year? I can't remember.
It would have been the season that I think it was the season you guys won it all.
Okay, so yeah. It would have been the spring. I couldn't remember if you were on that fall team in which both Dylan and Drake played on the same team together for that first season. Gotcha.
No, not lucky enough for that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yes, you joined. You were part of the expansion of the teams and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Your first season out there playing with the playing with Dylan and the MS Warriors. How did you find that?
It was awesome. I mean, Dylan and even Drake as well. They're both just amazing guys. I've known them for 10 years now. We played baseball together growing up through college. And, when he brought it up to me, I was hesitant at first. I played some slow pitch softball. But as soon as I got out there, I knew, hey, this is something I want to do. This is a great time. And it was awesome. I mean, obviously would have loved to win it all. But for a first season, I know I struggled tremendously. And so it was kind of nice to get that humbling experience saying, hey, let's get back to work. Let's work on some things. And, that second season, it was all the way up for me. So
absolutely. It's highlighted on one of the previous podcasts where I believe last summer I had you on at least on my second team All-American. So the improvement was definitely there, both hitting and pitching wise. With that, I mean, even though you said you didn't have the greatest first season, you guys in your first season, you guys finish as the number 1 seed. You go 9-1, winning every game except for your very last game, which I believe that was a 1-run loss to the Wise Guys. So you guys go into the 1 seed. Take me back a little bit. Did you think that was going to be the did you think it was going to be the first season come and get a good World Series victory, things like that, or what were your thoughts for that season?
I mean, honestly, we had a hell of a season. I really, completely honestly, Dylan carried the hell out of that team. Without him, we would have been in rough shape. But I definitely thought so. The problem that happened was we got cold right there at the end of the season when we lost to the Wise Guys, and our bats just never woke up after that. But I mean, it just goes to show you, right? You could go undefeated in a season like you've seen in past, right, with the Purple Huskies and other teams of that nature. If your bats are cold going into the playoffs, you're in for some deep trouble, and that was what happened to us that first season. But yeah, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah. I mean, only one team can end up winning their final game, just like any major sports playoffs and things like that. Speaking of the Purple Huskies, after this past summer season, these past 2 seasons with the MS Warriors, you decided to switch over and have Drake be your captain. You switched over to the MS Warriors along with Kyle Froome. What did you think of that, and what made you want to go over there, to play with the Purple Huskies?
Well, I mean, Drake has that longer hair. I definitely wanted to play with the prettier of the Hoffman brothers. So it was a good chance, a good opportunity for me. And to be honest with you, True's an absolute legend in this league. The guy is unreal on the mound. He swings the hell out of the bat, and I thought it was going to be a great chance to play with him. And I wasn't wrong. I mean, he struggled this season. He would say that he struggled this season hitting. And even with that, he was still one of the top players in the division. No questions about it. So it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy like him who's put up those, I mean, a little bit of down season, but when you have such big and lofty expectations, it kind of you have a season which you hit 400. It may seem like a down year in the past when he's hit over 600 and been the only 2-time MVP in this league. So I mean, that was a great opportunity
for now.
Oh,
just saying. I'm not saying anything, but I got some ideas. There might be a repeat here potentially.
But that is something we will stay tuned for next week's podcast. We will go over. Justin and I will go over our award predictions for the fall 2023 season, as well with the first team and second team All-American. Maybe Joey Palmer will make an appearance on there. Who knows?
Maybe
on the list. We'll see. But I mean, overall, you guys did have a great season. You guys finished 11-1 this season. Not quite the perfect season the Purple Huskies had last season, but you guys had a tough loss to the MS Warriors. Actually, you guys still get that number. I mean, we helped you out a little bit. We still got you that number 1 seed. Got you right to the Trash Pandas. I just want to ask you a little bit about what you saw happen with the Trash Pandas as they pulled off the upset.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of like we touched about prior to the podcast. They were coming in hot. They had that Monday game or that early game Monday, and their bats were ready to go. I mean, like the stats will show you, right? Drake and True have been two of the best pitchers in the league all season long, and they hit them both. I mean, there was nobody keeping them down. It was a tough outing for us, especially that first game. I think we lost like 11-3 or 10-3, something like that. And then, our bats they weren't there, and even when they were, the Pandas were there to make the plays. You couldn't hit a ball. You couldn't find grass out there if you wanted to. There's an old saying, you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat. Well, we couldn't hit grass. So,
on a softball field.
On a softball field, yeah. It was a tough one. But, props to them. They played a hell of a series, and they took care of business when they needed to. So, shout out to the Trash Pandas for that.
Yeah, I'll bring it back to a little more positive. Sorry to go a little more on the negative side but
you got to focus on both. I get it.
So we're in week 1 or week 2. We have some complications. One of the purple league teams kind of pulls out. Was this the thing Anthony talked to you about, or about making the Glizzy Gladiators, or was this more of a thing that you thought of in your mind and you kind of told Anthony, say, hey, I got the guys and girls to do this?
Well, I know he was definitely trying to get the Purple League going, and I love the idea of it. I thought it was just a fantastic way, right, for maybe people that don't want to be as serious or as competitive about it, and just be more inclusive as far as, hey, everybody can play and let's all just have some fun with it. And so I love that concept. And as soon as I heard that the other team dropped out, it was an immediate, hey, let's get this going. I want to make sure this is great for everybody. I got some people in mind that I know that would work out great. And, it kind of all came together within 2 or 3 days. And next thing you know, we got a doubleheader going into week 2, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and you guys had a great regular season. You clinched the 1 seed with a couple games left to go. You guys finished 8-1-1. With that one tie being your very last game of the season after you had already clinched that 1 seed and clinched that bye straight to the World Series. Did you feel confident in your guys and girls going into that World Series that you'd be able to come out with the victory?
Going into the World Series, absolutely. If you had asked me that after week 5 or 6, I would have said definitely not. I mean, we had a couple guys and girls. One I'd like to give a huge shout out to, Andrew, the Aussie assassin, Di Giovanbattista, an exchange player that we got from Australia. His first 5 weeks, that guy, I don't know if he touched a ball. He had like 15 walks, and he was hitting like 091 on the season. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to check out the end of the season stats. I got him here, actually. He ended up hitting 421 on the season. Just an absolute turnaround 180, and he was incredible in the World Series. Had a grand slam, a couple other bombs. I mean, the guy was lights out, and he was just, for sure, the comeback Glizzy of the year. No questions asked. Yeah.
I love the award names as well. That's the Glizzy of the year, and the comeback Glizzy of the year. Those are some creative names. That's what we like to see.
We like to have fun with it, the Glizzies.
Absolutely. Going into these next season or two, especially for this next winter season, are you looking? Is this group looking to stay together, or is there any people who maybe aren't available and trying to bring in some new people, or what's the deal?
No, so actually, we're going to be more available. Our one player, Benny the Jet Elliott, he's actually currently a hockey player for Cal State Fullerton. He plays hockey for the Titans. He's graduating in December, And so that responsibility is going to be going away. So he's going to be able to spend some more time with the Glizzies, and we're excited to have him. And it's been all positive on all fronts. Everybody's signed up, ready to roll, going into week 1 next week, and we couldn't be more excited. Can't wait.
Can't wait to see it happen. I do want to talk. I want to. I mean, not necessarily Glizzy Gladiators, but speaking of Glizzies and hot dogs, the first time you guys played our team, we had a little conversation about. Yes, you do live rent free in Justin's head. I think he probably supplied you the beer and the Celsius for tonight. We had some conversation about about having you start the game and have Justin be the leadoff hitter, so you can throw an actual Glizzy at him. It didn't happen right away, but it did happen in the 5th inning. And I know I know Justin was very surprised by what happened. What was your kind of reaction and kind of in doing it? Because unfortunately, I didn't record it. I wasn't quite ready for it to happen, but it was pretty funny in the moment.
It's honestly, it's been incredible, especially with the amount of inflation that we've been experiencing here in California. Having somewhere that I can always just lay down and live rent free has been just an absolute blessing. So Justin, a huge shout out to that. Your cozy mind is a wonderful spot to live in. As far as the Glizzy toss goes, it had to be done. Sometimes you just gotta remind somebody, saying, hey, I'm here, I live here, this is my home, and don't you forget about it. So the Glizzy toss was absolutely a 100% reminder of, this is my dojo, I live here now.
It's pretty empty up here, so you got all the space in the world to work with. So go have at move in your furniture and everything like that.
I do have a dog now, so I gotta. There's gonna be another, person coming in.
I'm gonna be like looking around the room, just like, what is that noise? It's gonna be like in my head apparently now. So
yeah, Joey, can you take that thing for a walk?
So apparently, allegedly, that Glizzy that was thrown, you ate it. Is that correct?
I may have taken a bite. It was a long day of wiffle ball. I get hungry. I'm definitely not the skinniest guy in the world anymore. There's not a lot of snack options other than the orange slices and Capri Suns that we bring to the Glizzy game. So the hot dog was definitely the next best option, and say it had to be done. Had to go for it.
Hey man, in this economy, you don't want that Glizzy to go to waste.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I mean it's like $6 for a pack of Glizzies now.
Oh my gosh, man!
Crazy.
So I got some personal questions for you.
Sure.
If you guys were sponsored by say like Oscar Mayer or Wiener Schnitzel or whichever preferable hot dog brand you guys like to use, what would it be and why?
I think we'd have to go with Ballpark. I think Ballpark would be our go-to Glizzy sponsor if we, ideally could get it. Mainly because I think they were the originators of making the perfect hot dog-sized Glizzy. I mean, before them, it was you'd buy a Glizzy and it'd be sticking out 1.5 inches on either side of the bun, and you're eating just Glizzy or just bun. Nobody likes that. We like a nice, even, perfect Glizzy, and Ballpark, they know what they're doing over there. So okay. Ballpark, I got to go with Ballpark on that one.
I like it. Now, my other question is, now that you guys have won a World Series, do we get a celebratory hot dog Glizzy eating contest?
There is actually something in the works on this already. It's been in the talks. I got to say, you're going to have to tune in to maybe a live stream here on the YouTube, and you might see a little special content come in from the old Glizzy Gladiators.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I'll leave that one up to surprise for you.
Okay, well, if you're not subscribed to Glizzy Gladiators YouTube channel, I'll put that in the description. Go ahead and click on that button, hit the bell button, get the update. Hopefully, it'll be up there pretty soon. So, little help for you there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually wanted to ask you the question. I've been dying to ask you this question, actually. So, beginning of this season, there was a very interesting graphic that came out, and I'm not sure what news outlet this came from, but it was very interesting because we had Joey Ponder at the very top, had a lot of guys from MS Warriors and Purple Huskies. And at the very bottom was the LA Wolves OC. What was your statement about that? Because obviously, you know, that graphic was about, you know, you having like the greatest season, and you know, out of everybody, MVP odds all the way up there. So what was your reaction to seeing that?
You know, I've actually hired a private investigator to get down to the bottom of it, if I'm being honest with you, because I think someone from the LA Whipples of OC put that graphic out to put the reverse juju on me, you know, and themselves as well, because as you can see, it kind of flip-flopped there to where, you know, everybody from the LA Whipples of OC played great. And, you know, I had a solid season, but definitely not like the prior for sure. So I think, you know, somewhere under 400. I think we're going to get down to the bottom of this, and somebody's going to have to pay for that. But hopefully that doesn't happen next season.
Well, I can't say for myself. I didn't have that great of a season either, so I'm probably not part of that group of people that's you know, flip-flopped up there. Probably still at the very bottom. So that thing was pretty accurate, to say the least. Well, so would you agree then that you know, graphic was kind of a ridiculous, you know, punch out there?
You know, it might have. Some would call it a low blow, for sure. You know, if you would have asked me a week ago, I would have said, yeah, that's pretty accurate. But you know, it didn't turn out that way, and that's as the famous Jim Carrey once said, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And yeah, that's the way our cookie crumbled.
Yeah, how much? You know, the odds. I believe they were at plus 10,000 for any LOC player. Do you think those people that made that bet would be making their money? In your opinion?
If I was the holder of that sports book, I would be running for the hills right now. I would throw my phone in the river. Because I can almost guarantee you that if anybody made that bet, there's a serious payout about to come their way. So we'll see what happens, though. You never know.
Yeah, we'll find out about that payouts. You know, there have been some consideration in the MVP list. You know, when we did this list at the beginning of the season, I actually really liked Shaden Hendrickson at plus 750. I know he's in the MVP conversation for sure. Some loser named Steven is in the MVP conversation. Nobody cares about him.
Never heard of him.
Just a try hard and a sweat. One of last season is trying to do a two in a row. What a loser.
Accurate.
I've heard he's in the MVP conversation. Even a guy like James Lee, first time in the league, is in the MVP conversation. So not even someone on the odds makers at the beginning of the season. So I think week 2 those awards. If I had to guess, week 2 those awards will come out. And all the and you will get I believe you'll be getting the mini bats to represent your Glizzy Gladiators World Series, something an award that's never been handed out before. You should have the plaques, and we'll have the plaques for D1, but you guys get the mini bat. I'm interested to see what those look like and how cool those are, because I've heard those were not cheap, and I've heard they look pretty cool.
I can't wait. Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting to put that over my mantle place, right next to you know, my bear head that I hunted in Alaska once. Just kidding.
Nice.
I've never hunted. I do want to give a shout out though to James Lee. I mean, he really, you know, they didn't have the greatest season by far, but he was absolutely a force to be reckoned with on the mound, and at the dish as well. And Shaden, you know, we shouldn't expect anything less at this point. He's been just one of the top wiffle ball players since I've joined the league. And I know he had an absolute phenomenal season as well. So best of luck to all the runners in the MVP candidate this year. So
except for that loser, Steven.
Yeah, I still don't know who you're talking about when you say that guy. So
apparently Justin knows him. I don't know who.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I've been with that guy for a while. You know, he's kind of a selfish prick sometimes. You know, And just bad experiences overall, man. I don't know. He's something else. Just put it that way. Just up there. That's just how it is. I do want to make a statement that James Lee is not my brother. I've had that happen a couple of times. I just want to make that clear. It happened at the very beginning of the season. So people are like, "Is this guy your brother?" Like, no, he's not my brother, man. Honestly, you might need to give him a glizzy because he's kind of skinny, man.
He could probably eat a couple glizzies and definitely afford it. We'll have to throw some glizzies his way next game we face him.
He's got room to grow. He's still on the young side. He's still, I believe, he's a sophomore in high school right now. So he's still got some room to grow. Still got
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you did. Justin, you do have a family member that does occasionally play in the league, though, right?
Yes,
Chris Lee?
I do. Yeah. So Chris Lee, he's my middle brother. He's been there. Well, he was here for the summer tournament. You know him personally, actually, because that's actually how I kind of segued into introducing myself to you the first time around, actually, because you were his baseball coach.
Yeah. The guy was a hell of a baseball player, and I know he's at Long Beach right now, and I actually just saw the other day they posted their roster, and he's getting ready to go for their upcoming season. We wish him all the best, and can't wait to have him back out here in the OC Wiffle Ball League, hopefully in this coming summer.
Yeah, he'll probably be there. Not sure, but he's very busy. He's a part of the board now at Long Beach State club baseball team, so he's doing a lot. So he's doing a lot of great things. Glad it would be great to have him out here at some point. Obviously, academics are more important at this very moment, so not really much we can do about that.
You sound like a teacher, all right? Settle down.
Wiffle is much more important.
I mean, if you want me to drag him out, I can totally do that. Like, I'm right up the road from where he is, so I was just hey, come on. Like, you don't need school, so,
I think that was in an Adam Sandler movie, right? The homeless guy, Mr. Deeds. Fools for fools, look at me.
It's a great reference. I mean, Steve Jobs, started in a garage, didn't get his degree, right? Look how that turned out, right?
What did that guy put out in this world? Only everything?
Yeah, what are these things? I don't know what this is. Don't exactly know. Well,
seen it.
Not sure what you're talking about.
Didn't put on my one.
Yeah, obviously. You went with the ladder.
You're that guy?
Oh
the reason
my
I got green tech group chat?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's the guy that you have to make a new group chat every time you want to add him to it because he's got yeah.
Golly.
It's great.
2023. Yeah, when in Rome.
Yeah, exactly.
Rome was a golden day. Yeah. Well, okay. Let me get back into it.
What do you think about Rome?
Don't do that to me. I know what you're trying to do with that. No.
Oh God.
I ain't your lover, okay? I don't buy into that. I mean, you do live in my head rent free, but that's a different matter, okay?
Sure, I'll help you think about the Roman Empire here soon.
Damn it.
Yeah. All right. Back with the podcast stuff.
Yes.
You're one of the first people, along with guys like Anthony and Matt Hornich, and some of the guys that are Wiffle D's and Does to play in multiple divisions at the same time. How did the workload feel each week being out there, where sometimes you're playing for 3 straight hours?
The game aspect of it, that was easy, right? You go from field to field. It's not a huge ordeal. As far as the glizzies, right? Just making sure everybody's on top of snacks and drinks, and making sure the live stream's set up, and everybody knows what to wear. That was a little bit more work. I loved every second of it because it was a ton of fun. But as far as the game load goes, I mean, hanging out with your friends for a couple hours on a Tuesday night, there's nothing better I can think of doing.
Yeah. I mean, would you recommend it to someone who's possibly looking to do both for the future seasons?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Anthony was great this season in making sure that our teams didn't have overlapping games, and he was extremely accommodating there, and we really appreciate that. But yeah, if you're looking to kick your feet up a little bit, have a little bit more fun, and just relax, and throw a wiffle ball around, hit some dongs, and text some moms, that's the league you want to be in. It's a lot of fun. Or dads. It's 2023, so
you got to be inclusive.
Yep.
Absolutely, we are inclusive. So, it's the spot to be. I love the Purple League. I love everything it represents, and we hope to see more competitors out there shortly.
I actually had a question about you splitting time with your team and then your Division 1 team. If the Purple Huskies made it to the World Series, what was the contingency plan like in that case? Because then you would have been playing in like two different places.
Yeah, so Anthony has to do that from time to time, as far as playing for the Chiefs and then Shepherd's Pie and trying to take video at the same time. It's a lot of work. I was not going to let that happen. No shot, no way. We were going to figure something out to where, a day that both teams, it worked. And we kind of had that ready to go just in case. Luckily / unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. And the Glizzies absolutely got the priority on Tuesday because they were the only team left on Tuesday. And, we got after it.
Yeah, you certainly did. You did get after it, and you guys came out with the win. Obviously, unfortunately, the other, Division 1 team didn't make it, but at least you guys get a title on your hands. You get to put like a nice little trophy up on your mantle, and you get to relax, with your beer back there and your Celsius.
That's true. Yeah, the beer unfortunately looks like it's all but gone, but that's what we got the Celsius for, baby.
Yes, sir. And I understand that that's not your first trophy that you've got in your mantle too, right?
I've got quite a few trophies. I was kind of a stud when I was a kid. Never really amounted to much after that, but
isn't that how it usually goes?
Yeah, you win all these trophies, and now it's just something to look at. But at the same time, I think I'm going to have to get an actual trophy made. And I needed to actually talk to you about this, so this is kind of perfect. How do you feel about getting a mold of your head so that way I can, just have it right there on my mantle? Because that is the ultimate trophy of mine of just getting free rent right there, baby.
I'm sure we can arrange that. I know there's a lot of people who can do 3D printing. They can probably, scan the face, do the whole spiel and get like a 3D printout. I mean, if you want, I don't know what you want it as, like a 3D printed object, or do you want like a latex mask where you can put it over your head or something like that?
I think the 3D print might work. I might need to borrow some hair there for the mustache, just so it's realistic as possible.
Oh, okay. I'll put that in a little tube for you and then send it in the mail. That'll come as a parcel later. Yeah, you can have that. Yeah. Gosh dang it.
Perfect.
Well, you also do not just wiffle ball. You guys also got hockey, right? You and Kyle Fromm. You guys just won a title too recently, right?
We did, yeah. We played in the Kaha tournament up in. It was kind of all over Orange County, but it was mainly like the Long Beach area is where we were playing, and that's where we ended up winning the championship. Kyle Fromm, longtime Minnesotan, diehard Twins fan and Wild fan / Vikings fan. So he's used to a lot of disappointment in his life, unfortunately. But we were able to come out on top in that tournament. It was a ton of fun. We played in another tournament in Vegas, finished second in that. I mean, it's he may take balls to the face in wiffle ball, but that guy can move the puck around a little bit.
Okay.
The guy's got some serious skills. So.
Okay, so we got some positive vibes for Fromm there. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Just a few though.
Talk about the jersey a little bit, because I understand it's a interesting little backstory with that, right?
For the hockey jerseys.
Yeah.
So it's actually my roommate is the creator and founder of Secret Sauce. A spin off of the In-N-Out logo, for sure. For those that don't know, a sauce pass in hockey is a puck that you pass to a teammate that's got a little bit of air. They call it saucing it to your teammate. And so that's kind of where, the California vibes plus the hockey vibes met. And everywhere we go, everybody always gives us some sort of compliment or notices our jerseys. And it was a great thing. And that's kind of where the inspiration for the Glizzy Gladiators came from. And I don't want to get into it too much because it's a big shocker here coming up in season number 2 for the Gladiators. But there's some prizes, some surprises coming up here that you'll see in the first couple weeks. So keep an eye out for us.
Okay, well, I guess we'll be looking out for that. I mean, aside from that expectation going into this next season, what's the next steps?
I mean, there's only one step, and it's, you might think it's, hey, let's repeat. That's not it. It's, hey, let's make sure Tuesday nights we're hanging out, we're having a good time, and we're enjoying all the people around us and playing some wiffle ball. And if we win, great. If we lose, that's not acceptable, and you better do better next week.
I think that's the most important thing, is just having fun. I think that's the really important thing about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. It's definitely the top priority for sure.
100%. Steven, you got anything else you want to discuss a little bit before we send Joey on his way?
I think we're about good. I'm gonna hold off on a question. I don't want to put Joey on the spot too much unless he really wants to be put on the spot or put some mystery in the air. But
you can always ask me anything. I'm an open book. That's my life.
All right. If you're sure, there's been
oh boy.
Yeah, there's been some rumors about the MS Warriors and Purple Huskies not being back for this next season. Are you looking to just be a Glizzy Gladiator, or are you looking to continue playing both in the Purple League and Division 1?
I've spent the last 24 hours celebrating the Gladiators. Enjoyed the hell out of it. I imagine there's probably going to be another parade or something tomorrow that I'm responsible for being to, of course.
Yes.
But it's definitely something my agent and I have been talking about. And we're definitely going to get on the same page here. And I know we got to make a decision pretty quickly. So I'm going to say stay tuned, because the Gladiators might not be the only spot you see Joey Ponder next season.
Ooh.
We'll just wait and see.
Yeah. That's a perfect way to end it. We'll see if you get. I mean, I'm sure pretty much every team in the league is reaching out to you, trying to get your expertise on how to win a World Series, unless you're the OCCOs, in which they know how to win a World Series, but maybe they're looking for I know there are some teams who might be looking for some guys. So it looks like you have a decision to make. I won't press you any more than that, but we appreciate you having you on. Thanks for coming on and talk with us, and congratulations on the win.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys, and good luck in next season with the LA Wiffles. And if you guys ever want to be in the Purple Division, we'd love the competition. So maybe we can make that happen.
If I knew if that loser Steven knew any females at all, he would maybe think about it.
Well, I mean, there are these things called wig shops, Justin. We can always figure it out. So.
I mean, I guess there's multiple ways of doing it. I guess that's one of them. So, I'm not arguing against that, I guess. I mean, well, speaking upon that guy Steven, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that speed might be not too much for him, man. I don't know. Might not be able to catch up too much in the Purple League. You guys already have everything locked down over there.
What's crazy about the Purple League is, that 55 mile an hour speed limit. You'd think okay, that's easy enough. It's hard to keep it down there. It's tough to not sit there and go, all right, I'm going to throw this thing as hard as I can. I know Shelby a couple times last night against Anthony. She got it up there to 60, 61 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. We, so maybe she's looking to make a move up. Ooh. You never know. We'd hope to not lose her, but we'll keep that on the lookout for sure.
Yeah, and we'll be keeping an eye out for you guys. next season, obviously. So that's the big news story of the day. And those surprises you got in store, we're going to be looking out for those too, because that's big news on this show.
Oh yeah, trust me, it's going to be a wild winter season here we got coming up. So you definitely, if you haven't been watching, you need to start.
Oh boy. Well, if you haven't already, go down the description, check out the Glizzy Gladiators YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button and that bell. And for all your Celsius and Glizzy needs, this is your guy right here, man. For real, 100%. Yeah, there we go.
Well, there we go. Get a nice shot.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much, Joey Ponder, for being on the show. Always a pleasure to have you. First time you're on this show, and I guess we'll see how the things go, and we'll catch up with you sometime pretty soon, I guess.
All right, that sounds great. I'll see you guys on the Diamond on Tuesday.
Hell yeah.
Yep, real quick.
Thanks so much, Joe.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
See ya.
Thank you for Joey for coming on and talking about the Purple League. Congratulations to the Glizzy Gladiators and a great season to the Pancake Batters, Wiffle Doughs, and the Chiefs as well. It was interesting to see in the Purple League. But now we move on to Division 2. We had 4 teams going into this playoffs. We had the OC Seals taking on the 47ers in the first round, and then we also had Whoosh taking on Wiffle D's in the first round. Winner of those 2 series moving on to the World Series, and then obviously there'll be a World Series winner. These games all started at 6:30. These were some of the later. Started a little later, but let's get straight into it. Let's starting off first. We'll talk about the OC Seals sweeping the 47ers, winning. They win Game 1 13-0 and win Game 2 4-0. Justin, your thoughts on the Seals being able to sweep the 47ers, who just recently beat the Seals a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, we thought the Seals were really going to turn differently, since they were starting to really give up a lot of runs in the later part of the season. They've been looking really good all year. Then they come into here. Our expectation is that the Seals are going to have a fight upon their hands, and all of a sudden it wasn't like that, and they completely sweep their team against the 47ers, who we thought was going to pull off a really big upset and make the OC Seals earn that chance to get to the World Series. And otherwise, is basically what happened. The 47ers did not score basically any runs. The OC Seals came in there hot-handed, pitching and offensive on both sides. They were completely dominant, and they swept both games. The first game 13-0 and the second game 4-0. Fantastic outing for all those pitchers that they've had, and we know this is the expectation that they had coming into this, that they were going to be the top tier team to beat.
Yeah, that is. I mean, they went 8-2 in the regular season. They finished first place for a reason. 10-2, I should say. I apologize. I got some records mixed up, but they finished 10-2 on the season, only losing twice, and one of those being to the 47ers a couple weeks ago. So they were able to bounce back. We'll get into that game a little later. As we talked about, we'll have Michael Vees, who had a big moment in the World Series. We'll talk to him more about things. But moving on next, I'll give just a little sneak peek. This was the only on Monday night we had all the semifinals and stuff. This was the only semifinal series to go to 3 games. Okay, I'm sorry. I gotta cut that out. That was way too loud. You heard that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say we gotta cut that.
250.
I don't want to tell them I'm doing this, but I'm trying to
I could barely hear it, so I think you're okay.
It was getting pretty loud for me. That's why I stopped.
Oh, okay. I think you're good, dude.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to just introducing Whoosh and Wiffle D's.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so now we move on. We'll talk more about the OC Seals in a bit with our guest Michael Vees. We now move on to give you guys a little sneak peek. On Monday night was all the wild card and the semifinal games and things like that. This is the only semifinal series to go to 3 games, and this is Whoosh and Wiffle D's, the 2, and Wiffle D's being the 2 seed and Whoosh being the 3 seed. And a very good battle between these teams. So let's go into the depth of this one a little bit more. This is one of the bigger series. It was the only games to be going on past 8:30 actually, but Whoosh taking down Wiffle D's, winning Game 1 5-2. Wiffle D's then come back and win that one 6-0. But then Whoosh making a comeback, scoring 3 runs in the top of the 6th inning to win the game 6-5 and put themselves in the World Series. You know, Justin, as Whoosh was your World Series pick, how did you view this series overall based on the results?
I thought it was great. You know, they really met those expectations that I had for them. You know, really going out there, putting up a fight against Wiffle Dees, because we know they have the talent to do so, and it kind of exactly what happened. You know, pitching may have been the big issue for them a big chunk of this year, but it seemed like they really were figuring it out. Game 1, 5-2. You see Whoosh beat them in that first game. The Wiffle Dees right back at them with a 6-0 shutout win in the game 2, which was intense. And then you get to game 3, and it came basically down to the wire. I don't want to say it was a walk-off, but it was Whoosh came out on top with a 6-5 victory, which is in my book a pretty big upset. But I'm glad Whoosh was able to make it. Hence my prediction and moving up into the World Series, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will have to correct you a little bit there. I apologize for this, but Whoosh did not win it on a walk-off, as they were the away team in Game 3. So they were unable to walk it off, so I apologize for that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't want to say it was a walk-off, yeah. Because I wasn't sure if it was a walk-off or not in that moment, because those games ran really late.
They did, and I know you had some other business to attend to on that Monday night, so... but yeah, these are some great series. You know, Drew Plant really stepped up in these playoffs, which we'll talk more about later. He was big. He pitched 4 innings nearly every game, and then Donald would come in for 2 innings. Sometimes Owen would pitch a little bit as well. But overall, Drew Plant was the man for them. Was pitching extremely well and just keeping guys off balance. Was speeding it up when it needed to cause the guys to swing. Nick Yusuf had a big home run in the 5th inning, I want to say. I believe there's video of it on the OCO Football Instagram where he hit the ball over the center field fence. So I mean, we know from his time at the other Wilson OC, he's a big time power hitter and can really make that ball travel. But that one's a little further than I've seen in a while from anyone. One of the hardest hitters in the league, and that's why he was an award winner this past summer season for hitting. But Game 3, Whoosh was able to work the walks, make it a 6-3 game, and then Wiffle Dees with 2 outs was able to get a 2-run homer to make it a 6-5 game. And then on a 3-2 count with nobody on base, I believe, or there was a run out first. I can't remember for sure, but Drew Plant able to get that final out and end the game and send them to the World Series, which Whoosh proved me. The LWO OC Division II team proved me wrong. I thought Wiffle Dees were going to win this series, but fair play to Whoosh. This was a great series between them and Wiffle Dees. One of those I'm sure these teams are going to remember. I'm sure that's going to keep both of these teams hungry for this upcoming winter season.
Yeah, 100%, because we knew they had the talent to really make this huge jump in their system, and with Drew Plant coming in there, we also talked about it last week. He was the X Factor idea for us. He was having astronomical stats compared to a lot of his compadres on that team, and he looked like he was going to be the star of this team, and that's exactly what came entailed for this, and that's exactly how they got to the World Series for Division II against the OC Seals.
Yeah, the other Wolves OC might have to bring some people up from their Division II team. We'll see. So we have the World Series set. We got the OC Seals taking on Whoosh. We got a great series on our hands. 2 teams that actually Whoosh handed the OC Seals their first loss earlier in the year. That was week 1 over at. It feels so long ago that we were at the Huntington Beach Sports Complex. By the way,
yeah,
I've kind of mentioned it. It just feels like forever. But those were the first 3 weeks of the season. We were over on the soccer field in the Huntington Beach Sports Complex. So how far we've come, it just feels like we've gone back to normal. But we have the OC Seals and Whoosh set up. Whoosh taking game 1 here 9-7, coming out hot offensively, getting ready to go. But the Seals are able to bounce back big time, winning game 2 12-2 in 4 innings. And then game 3, tied at 6 in the bottom of the 6th inning. I can't remember if there was 1 out or 2 out. I can't remember how many outs there were. I think there was 1 out. But Michael Vest steps up to the plate. I think the second pitch he saw, takes it to left field just beyond the outstretched arms of Donald LeCompte, and is able to hit a walk-off home run, which we'll talk more about his moments and what happened with that, because as we haven't recorded that part yet, I believe he didn't even know that was to end the game, or that was a walk-off home run. So great series between these teams. Similar thing. This is the last series going on Tuesday night as well. It's a great battle. I'm not sure we've seen a World Series end with a walk-off homer like that.
Yeah, I mean, those are the moments that you dream of in life, being able to get into that big moment, and exactly what happened to Michael Vees, even though it didn't seem like he was in that moment. You saw the great reaction by his entire team, all of his teammates going around him, and him looking, a little confused, like, did I just hit a walk-off home run? And they're like, yeah, you just hit a walk-off home run, man. It was a pretty big moment for Michael Vees, even though he didn't realize it at first, which is amazing to see. But what a series this was. I mean, you talk about Whoosh, coming out hot, and that was aside from my expectation. Actually, I thought OC Seals were going to jump out firsthand in this game, in this series, and then they would take game 2. But it was kind of the opposite. And then in game 2, the Seals jumped out with a 12-2 victory against Whoosh, and kind of like what we saw in the championship series, where Whoosh kind of went quiet in that second game, but then going to the third game. What I understand is that when they were playing within the first 3 innings, it was actually the OC Seals that were up by 6, and Whoosh hadn't scored a single run yet. And then they get to the later part of the game, and they fought all the way back just to get to that tie and really give it to the Seals there. And then Michael Vees obviously squandered that and hit a walk-off home run, which was amazing to see. Talk about a golden finish to such a great series.
Yeah, I know you couldn't imagine it ending much better. With Michael Vees, we'll talk about this more, but in my mind, maybe him not knowing the situation just caused him to relax and be able to just go up there and swing the bat loosely. And I think maybe if he was thinking about it too much, he would have been trying to swing too hard and maybe would have not been able to get that walk-off home run for his team. But overall, a great series for Division II. First season with a Division II league. Good to see another winner here. You had the new team versus the experienced team, and OC Seals versus Whoosh. The new team with the talent takes the win. And then to talk more about the OC Seals and their season and their playoff run, we're going to send it over to the man who hit that walk-off home run himself, Michael Vees. So let's send it over to him right now and get his thoughts on their season and his big moment.
All right, guys. Now joining us on the show is the esteemed Michael Vees of the OC Seals, one of the Division II teams that was crowned champions of the inaugural Division II World Series game off of a miraculous walk-off home run in the final game of that World Series set. We're going to ask him some questions because that was a pretty big moment. How are you doing, Michael? Welcome to the show.
Doing good. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, that was definitely a cool moment. Something I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
No, it was a cool game.
The first initial thing that we were talking about was judging by the video that it didn't seem like you knew it was a walk-off home run.
No, so that was the funniest. I sat out that inning and I saw like we gave up runs and like I knew it was tied, but in my mind I wholeheartedly believed it was the bottom of the 5th. So I'm like, okay, we have time. I was like, we're good. And so, I was just trying to be serious. And I was like, I wasn't even trying to like go for a home run. I'm like, we just need base hits. So Zach walks, and then Braden, he struck out, and then I'm up. And yeah, this whole entire time, I had no clue it was the bottom of the 6th. I hit the home run, and I was hyped too. And I was like, sweet, like awesome, man. I was like, we're up. But then everybody else was like super hyped. And I thought they were like a little too hyped at first. And then I was like, what the hell happened? I hear Ryan just like absolutely screaming. And he's like, that's game, dude. I was like, that's game. I was like, what? So yeah, I was completely confused. But I was like, sure, man, I'll take it. So definitely it was a cool moment. And it was cool to get it on video too.
Yeah, I guess somebody had planted their phone there while you were having that.
Yeah. No, I was lucky for sure. But no, yeah, I was just trying to stay dialed in. Just trying to stay alive, really, but had no clue it was the last inning.
Yeah, it was a great angle too because they got the whole thing.
I know. Yeah. It was like perfect somehow.
Yeah, it was amazing. Well, I guess we'll go into that a little bit more because we want to savor that just a little bit on as we get here early. We want to start off with the very first, like the very beginning of where you guys are at. So you guys walk into here. You guys are the 1 seed of the OC Seals. You get some cool jerseys, nice looking social media handle on Instagram. I see you got the hat. I remember summer tournament. You said you had made that yourself, right?
Yes, yeah. I ended up making the hat. I'm a hat guy. I always have to wear a hat, so I ended up just getting a hat on Amazon and ordering a patch off Etsy. The whole thing was like $15, which I was cool with. And then some of the other guys ended up getting like actual embroidered hats, which looked pretty sick. But I was cool with this. But yeah, no, it's cool coming up with the jerseys because we've seen other guys like you and other teams have the jerseys, and it all just looks cohesive, and we like that look. So that's what we went for this year.
Yeah, I mean it looks great. I like the design. It's very modern. You can definitely wear that with any kind of style. I mean it fits perfectly for you, man. Like I'm not even joking about that. Like it looks great.
No, when we went into it, we had no clue what we were doing, and then all of a sudden Ryan just suggested the seals, and so we kind of went with it. And then every single game we played, Ryan would have some sort of seal fact that he would give us, and it was just the most random thing, but it was funny. So
Hey
we kept it
man,
going.
hey man, flap those flippers, right? You know what I'm saying?
That was the funniest thing. Yeah, that he would post that on Instagram. He did a really good job with Instagram. For
Yeah,
sure.
he seems like he's into it, which we'll talk
He
about
is.
where the future lies for your team
Hmm.
going into later. But getting back to it though, you guys walk in here first seed. You guys are gonna take on the 47ers. You guys are starting off in game 1, game 2. What was I mean, for you guys, I'm sure Ryan had his own feelings about that, but
Yeah.
what was kind of your expectation going into this? How did it feel going into that game, series, whatnot?
Going into the 47ers, we had lost to them actually a few weeks prior 1-0. And so, they're a good hitting team. So I definitely thought they would be more of a challenge to us than they did. They have a good squad and everything, but that game we showed up, we were ready to play, and so we ended up getting through them pretty quickly. So that was definitely I was happy about that because I thought they may be a decent competitor for us.
Yeah, I mean, both of those the 47ers we knew like new to this year.
Yeah.
They have a couple of talented guys on there. Like they defensively like look great on paper, and then you guys end up actually sweeping them in 2 games. And then on the other side, you've got the other teams, Woosh and Wiffle D's playing each other. Did you have like a guess as to who would have made it through? Did you really think like who would make it as far?
We were thinking, I think our squad and the talks that we were talking about, we were thinking Wiffle D's were going to be making it. And then I know Ryan stayed later that game, and he ended up seeing Whoosh come out on top. So we wanted to play Whoosh because in our minds, we thought Wiffle D's was the better component or opponent. So we were happy that the Whoosh got the win, and we were going to head to the World Series with them.
Okay. Steven, do you have anything you want to ask Ryan Vees before we talk about anything going forward?
Well, I mean, yeah, we can even back it up more as well. How did you first get involved with OC with football? How did you first find out about it and join?
Yeah, so my buddy Mo, he's on the D1 Trash Pandas, and I saw him post it on Instagram one day, and I was like, oh, dude, and I probably like a lot of you guys have played wiffle ball, growing up and blah blah blah, and I played blitzball more so, but I saw that there was this league, and I was like, dude, it's it's in Orange County. I was like, it just looks super fun, so ended up signing up the following season, which was the summer season, signing up just as a newcomer, and I ended up being on the same team with Ryan, and so that's kind of how we started. And me and Ryan were on the same team first season, which did not go very well. We were last place. I think we went like 1-13, and it was definitely not pretty, not what we wanted. So we decided to stick together and form a new squad, and that's where we are today.
The Angel Hernandez Strike Zone, that was the name of the team, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was an interesting team, bunch of good guys, but
Yeah.
it's just like we could not, for whatever reason, could not come up with just the runs and the defense. We had no pitching, so it just wasn't there. But it was a good, getting into the league and kind of seeing what it was all about. So yeah, it was fun though, for sure.
Yeah, and you guys were that's how you met Ryan. There was one guy, I think he was on Pacific Thrashers this last season, and then you knew Mo, right? There was a
Yes.
story happening behind there where there was a potential merger between you guys and the Trash Pandas, I heard.
For a very small, second, because I didn't know if Mo and Blake were going to stick with the team because it was also, I think, their second season or whatever in the league. So we had no clue what was going to happen. So I was, me and Ryan were in talks with Mo and Blake and kind of seeing what they were doing. And they had, I think, a bigger squad. I'm not sure what the numbers were, but we were, definitely talking about potentially having two teams, I guess, affiliated with the Trash Pandas. And that just ended up kind of falling through.
Yeah, I heard the story was that because they were losing games early that season, and
Yeah.
then they started winning a bunch of them, and then they managed to make the playoffs, and then they knocked out yours truly with Steven and as a team captain for that, and then they were like, well, I guess we're sticking together, and
They had a good run, and I'd say an unexpected run. But yeah, they ended up just forming it up, and Mo, I think he only has like one pitch or one or two pitches, but he did pretty good pitching somehow.
Yeah, he really improved for that team, like going through that
Yeah.
season. Like you saw the numbers, and even this year, like I mean, he was gone for like the first half of it.
Yeah.
And he came back, he started picking things up, and then kind of just went off, right up until the playoffs and everything like that. So he was definitely a force to be reckoned with. Like once he came into this season.
For sure, and he's got so much power behind him. So if he connected with a ball, is for sure going to be gone. So they definitely had a lot of power behind their team.
Yeah, they definitely did have a ton of power on that team, which is why they were one of the big home run hitters that season ago.
Yeah.
In the summer. So it was big for them. Yeah, but
Good.
your team was made up of a lot of baseball prospects. So how did you and Ryan are putting this team together? You guys are talking about it, obviously, I'm guessing. But what did you think of all the young, like talented guys that you guys had this season?
Yeah, so Ryan definitely was the recruiter aspect. I mean, he was team captain through and through, and definitely ran the show, which I was thankful for. But he was the recruiter, and he had coached these two guys, Zach and Anthony DeMarco, and they're both seniors in high school. They're both committed to play college ball. And Zach, he's a great pitcher, and Anthony, he's a great hitter. Both of them are great hitters. So I was all stoked for it because I knew the biggest aspect we were lacking was on the pitching aspect of it. It's like I'm still now trying to practice and whatnot, get better, but they had it down. So bringing them definitely helped us get to the World Series, and as well as Nick. Nick was huge, and so was Braden Salzman. Both huge at bats and great defensively. So the whole team just gelled right from the get go, and we seemed to have it going for us.
So, in your backstory, like way back before wiffle ball, do you have a baseball background that you have like with you besides blitzball and all that?
Yeah, so I played baseball whole life, and since I was like, I don't know, 5 or whatever. But yeah, baseball whole life. Played golf ball, played high school at Elisa Nagel, and then I did not play college ball, but yeah, so I played my whole entire life and just loved it. So, and the wiffle ball, it's such a fun league too, and it's just so chill. And there's a great community behind it, and it's really competitive, which I love.
Yeah. What were your thoughts about having Division 2, Division 1, like different levels of divisions this season? Like do you like aside from like your first season where it was like just a bunch of teams, there's a lot of competitiveness like on one side, and then there was like, mixed in with like a maybe not so competitive type of deal. Like,
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about that?
I really liked the idea of the different divisions, especially if you have as many teams as we did this past season, because like someone as myself during the first season where I had a terrible team, it's like you're gonna win, you're gonna lose, but to lose every single game like 13-0 or whatever the score was, it just, it didn't make it as fun to show up. So having different divisions where you have, a little bit, Division 1, you've got obviously the top dogs, and Division 2, you've got, a little bit less in skill or whatever you want to call it. It's nice to have that balance so everybody has a competitive, playing field. So I love the idea of Division 1, Division 2, and the Purple League. I think it just makes for better competitive wiffle ball for sure.
Yeah, and certainly so, and obviously things worked out for you guys.
Yeah.
Getting to the World Series. So let's talk about that now. Wiffle D's lose to Whoosh in that series, and now you guys end up playing against this team throughout this regular season. What were your guys' thoughts about Whoosh? Because I know you've seen them. They've been around for a while.
Yeah.
They have a lot of talented dudes. Like, what was the expectation? Not just like beforehand, and then going into this. Like, once you found out, like, hey, Whoosh is in this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I remember them from my first season. And not to hate on them, but when I first saw them, I was like, we got this. But no, they're a good team. They have a lot of good at bats. They can hit the ball well, and they have some good pitching too. So going into it, honestly, I think we felt very confident, very confident that we could get it done in 2 games. Because like I said, we were in our mind, we were thinking Wiffle D's was going to be the stronger opponent. So we were preferring to play Whoosh. And so once we got Whoosh, we were all, hyped up and stoked about it. And definitely anticipated getting through that series with two games. But obviously it took the whole 3-game series to get it done.
Yeah, and so you guys are getting into this series now. Like, you guys have high hopes, expectations, and then now you get into, maybe about the first or second game, and then you realize you guys have a tied series now, and you're like, oh man, this is actually going to be a really competitive one. How did you guys approach the first couple games, and like how did you guys figure out your adjustments and whatnot, like going into those?
Yeah, the first World Series game, honestly, I think it took a lot of us by surprise. Because off the get-go, I don't know if it was the first or second inning, we scored 5 runs. It was 5-0, I think, up until the third. And then all of a sudden, our pitching just kind of fell off just a little bit, and they're starting to get hits. I think we were walking guys. I think that was a huge thing for us, is we walked in a few runs, which definitely didn't help. So then they ended up scoring, and now it was the bottom of the 6th, and we're down. I think it was 7-5 or 8-5 or something like that. And so the first game was definitely an unexpected loss, and definitely it told us and our guys okay, we need to step it up and be ready for game 2. And so swinging around to game 2, it was a huge difference. Our bats were explosive. Our pitching was great, and I think we ended up beating them 13-1 or something like that, which was insane.
Yeah, and then all those things come together, and you're like, wow, this might be. What's the initial thought? Like, wow, this might be a long one, right?
Yeah, no, it's I was so confused during those first 2 games, because the first game it's okay, we lost by 2. And then the second game, we won by 11, and I'm like, they're the same team. How could we not, how could we not have done that the first time?
Yeah.
But it's that's sports for you. So that was definitely the shocking part. Is okay, we battled back game 2, and then the final game, it was the same kind of situation as game 1, where we were both just going back and forth. We both knew it was going to be a good fight. I remember just being stressed the entire time. You could definitely feel the jitters and whatnot, and making sure you didn't make a mistake and everything. So game 3 was a battle for sure. But we came out strong. I know the pitching was on for sure. We were really smart in making sure, because Zach's our number 1 pitcher. So, we had him start. I think he went through the first 2 innings, and it was the same situation as the first game. We scored 5 runs, and I was like, okay, we can't have this repeat like the first game. And so we had Zach go, and then we had Braden come in, which was huge, to try to get his 2 innings in, and then Zach was able to finish out the rest.
Yeah, and I heard after, because we finished our game a little bit beforehand and whatnot.
Yeah.
I had already gone. Steven was watching you guys actually, but before I left, I checked in with one of the Whoosh guys, and they said they were down by 6, and I was like, oh man, that's not great. And then I just find out later like they had caught all the way back, and I was like, whoa, okay, we got ourselves a game here.
Yeah.
I don't know if Steven had any saw. I'm sure he saw a lot of things in that final game. If you wanted to ask anything before we talk about his big moment,
you can keep going if you want to. It's up to you.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously we touched on it a little bit about that home run. I mean, obviously your mindset was just get some hits, right?
Yeah.
How did it feel just like coming off the bat? Like what kind of pitch did he give you exactly? If you remember?
I think it wasn't a fastball. It had a little bit of movement to it. I think it was honestly a missed slider because it kind of hung up there. And like I said, I was just trying to hit something solid. I'm not trying to I wasn't, and like I said, I didn't even know it was the bottom of the 6th. So I wasn't trying to be like a hero guy or whatever you want to call it. I was like, okay, we just need base hits, play the small ball game, and that's how you win ball games. But yeah, I remember vividly sitting out that inning, and I was like, we were up by 2. It was, I think, 6-4. And I was sitting out that inning. I was just like going up and down in a squat pose. I was like super stressed. And then I think we walked 2 guys and then hit a single. Then they hit a double. And so now it was like tied ball game. And I think we barely got out of that inning. Zach had a great final strikeout. And so we were able to get out of that inning. And yeah, I had no clue it was the bottom of the 6th. But no, it felt really good off the bat. I'll be honest. And I was pretty pumped after that. And then I turned around and everyone else was like so hyped. And I was like I said, I was a little confused because it was they were like super hyped, like we had just won the World Series. But in my mind, I was like, we still have one more inning.
Yeah, and it turns out you literally just hit the walk-off home run in that game.
I know it was absurd. It was such a cool moment to have for sure.
So, what was the celebration like? Did you guys go out after? Did you guys have some kind of plan? Did you roll out the champagne? What would you guys do?
No, so we're still planning to go out. It's hard. We're all adults and just people that have so many different schedules. So we are planning to go out and have a dinner and celebrate with the guys. And then I think me and Ryan had the idea of getting, I don't know if we're going to get t-shirts for everyone or get some sort of kind of reward to think back about the season, how everything played out. But no, definitely got to get together with the guys and celebrate for sure.
Yeah, the shirts would be nice once you guys, if that's the decision, right?
I would love to get a ring. I don't know if that sounds funny. A ring would be pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
A ring would be pretty cool.
Some pretty expensive rings, hopefully.
Sure.
Get one of those. It'd be nice, like a little seal, like on the very top or something like that.
I'd get it all cased up and everything.
Yeah, there you go. And probably maybe it'll say on the side flap those flippers.
There you go. Yeah. No, that'd be funny.
Those are some good ones. What was it? What else was I gonna say? Well, I mean, you guys are gonna get a trophy. I don't know if you guys heard. You get it's a bat. It's basically a bat. I'm not sure what it's made out of, but I heard it looks pretty cool. So that'll look pretty nice on whoever's mantle that's gonna be on. So.
That's sweet. No, I did not know about that.
Yeah,
that'll be cool.
So, in terms of the future now that you guys have won a World Series, i.e., but yes. The news was that you guys were losing a lot of your guys after this season because they're baseball prospects, they got to go to school, and they have to go do their thing, obviously.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So, the news travels fast. Like I said, we've got 2 high school seniors on our team that are committed. So that was the reason they could play in this fall league. They're not in season, so all the coaches were cool with it. No harm, no foul to anyone. And then just schedules for our work schedules too. We're getting busier, so that's why we're taking a break this fall season. But we're not winning and quitting. We want to come back, and so we'll be back eventually. I know that for sure. But the team definitely may look a little different, but with some of the guys remaining as well.
Yeah, I know that was a little trouble with trying to find some people. So you guys are taking a break for a little bit, if that's right.
Yeah.
Which definitely sucks because you guys were like absolutely electric this season.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, arguably could have been a Division One team with all the talent that you guys had on there.
No, for sure.
You guys had a heck of a series, heck of a playoff run. I mean, I had Whoosh as my prediction. Steven had you guys as his prediction, so he won the prediction battle here. So I was that close to winning the prediction thing, but you guys proved me wrong. And honestly, like it's extremely rare to see walk off like hits in like championship games. We were talking about it like the Diamondbacks like ages ago hit a walk-off single.
Oh, okay.
Steven, I know, mentioned a home run from like the 80s. I mean those are rare, like especially in championship games, and you're the guy who just did it, so that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've watched the video quite a few times. No, it was just it's a cool moment to see the whole team come together and just it was a cool moment for sure, and it was definitely something unexpected. So definitely, it's all in all, it was a great moment to have with the team.
Are you gonna show your kids someday like that hit maybe?
Oh, 100%. It'll be the first thing I show them. my highlight reel with the one clip.
Just showing them, just like, hey, Dad did that.
I won the World Series.
There you go. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, I've pretty much spent all my questions. Honestly, I mean, you've pretty much answered all of them, unless Steven's got some stuff he wants to ask you. But honestly, really, congrats on that. Especially to the Seals. Flap those flippers, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, flap those flippers. No, thank you. Yeah, we'll be back and we'll be ready to take the competition to D1 for sure eventually.
Yeah. Do you got any thoughts, Steven, at all? If you want to ask, now opportunity is the window here.
I mean, congrats to you guys. Congrats to you guys. You guys had a great season. We'll see if you guys come back in the future. But for now, you get to relive your moment. Glad I was able to be on camera as well. I had some. I had some, for our first World Series. I had some moments that I wish were on camera, but we didn't have the. It was either we weren't recording it or there wasn't a live stream for the World Series for whatever reason. Yeah. But glad you're able to watch it and hold that as a memory. But other than that, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, we definitely want to come back and take it to D1 and see where we can take it for sure.
Yeah,
we'll be back.
You guys will be. Yeah, flap the flippers. We need to see that again.
Yeah,
man.
Flap those flippers.
Legit.
keep it going.
I actually had an interesting question I just thought about. So do you guys have a paid photographer for your guys' team?
No, we don't. So at the beginning of the season, Braden's sister took photos, and then during these last few games, it's one of Ryan's. He coaches the kid. I don't know what grade he is, but his dad runs like a photography business, and the kid Ryan coaches is, I think, starting to learn photography for a class. So he's been coming to the games, taking professional photos. So it was definitely a nice perk to having someone. So yeah, we did like a whole team photo, and we did like the whole team like solo shots with the bat and everything. So it was definitely a nice perk to have.
Yeah, those are some really nice pictures you guys have like on the social media thing. I was like, wow, this looks like a professional like ball team that we have here.
Ryan does a great job. He did a great job running the social media. He did a superb job running it and kind of keeping everyone engaged, which is cool.
Yeah, we're gonna need more of that when you guys come back. Like
for sure.
Definitely gonna miss you guys for a bit.
Keep it going. No, we'll be watching along the sidelines, but yeah, like I said, we'll be back for sure. Ain't going anywhere yet.
So I know the other guys are taking a break. You and Ryan obviously you guys aren't baseball prospects in the system, but what's the off-season regiment, and what are you guys going to try to do to stay in shape, so to speak?
We'll definitely practice for sure. We already talked about practicing here and there, and because like I said, the biggest thing is we're losing our main pitcher. So we'll definitely be, like I said, I'm gonna be practicing. I'm not planning on becoming the main pitcher anytime soon. I just need to be there in case of anything. But we'll also definitely be recruiting, kind of making some phone calls and seeing who we could possibly get. But yeah, we'll definitely be practicing and trying to stay ready for the upcoming season.
Alrighty, man. Well, thank you for being on the show, and we appreciate you here. And maybe hopefully we'll see you guys in a Division One competition someday when you guys make your grand return, which will be scary for the league, right? But no, thank you for giving your time and being on the show. I mean, that's why we love having guests on here, is because they have a story, and you were selected obviously for what you did in game 3. So thank you for being out here, Michael Vees.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, both of you guys for having us. It was definitely cool to chat and kind of just catch up. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll let you go, and again, thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys later.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Michael Vest, for being on the show. Great moments. I'm sure you'll definitely remember that one for a long time, which is amazing. And now you have
absolutely.
Yeah, and then you got a video of that too. You gotta keep that one in your phone, man, for real, and show it off to your kids someday.
Yeah, as we mentioned with him, it's a pretty big moment to hit a walk-off home run. How many people can say to their kids, they hit a walk-off home run to end the World Series. Only someone like Joe Carter in the 1993 World Series can say that. And I'm sure there's been another example or two in the MLB, but that's the most recent example with Game 6 in the 1993 World Series for Joe Carter and the Toronto Blue Jays. So big moment there for him. We're happy for him, and that also means that we are now tied at predictions.
Yeah.
You got the Purple League right, and you did not get Division 2, but I got the Division 2 right, and I got Purple League wrong. So
I was this close too, man.
Both teams both of our predictions were close to winning.
Yeah.
But we did choose the same team for Division 1. I had my little caveat, but at the end of the day, I was choosing the other. We'll go see. So get us into it.
Yeah, I do want to also throw another example out there when Luis Gonzalez hit a walk-off against Mariano Rivera in the 2001 World Series. The Diamondbacks getting their first ever World Series ever in history.
True, but that wasn't a home run.
It wasn't a home run, yeah, but it was a walk-off for sure, which is not many people can say they won the World Series off a walk-off win, which is amazing. It's extremely rare moments, and I'm sure he'll have that one forever as soon as they get that trophy as well. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, those trophies will be coming in soon when Anthony hands out all the awards for the fall season. People are going to be getting their awards as well. Purple League in Division 2, it sounds like you'll be getting the mini bats, as well as the LOC will be getting a mini bats for the Summer Classic tournament. That trophy will finally be coming out. So that's another championship. They'll do just casual light work.
Yeah.
But then LOC, as we'll talk about, we'll be taking home that Division 1 flag, baby.
Yes,
you saw in the background of my other parts, but I'm not going to bring it to me with for me to Arizona. So, but yeah, we'll see. They do take the title, but let's talk a little more about how they got there.
Yeah, so we got the Division 1 playoffs here. We've got 4 teams in that divisional game. We've got the Trash Pandas taking on the Avocabros, and on the other side, you've got the Eliwisa OC taking on Beach City Bombers. So we'll talk about Trash Pandas first and what's going on their side of the bracket, basically. So whoever won this game would move on to play the Purple Huskies, who are the number 1 seed. And as we know about number 1 seeds in this league, they usually don't make it all the way. But Division 2, otherwise, the OC Seals have broken that curse, so I guess it still kind of sticks with Division 1. But
as did the Glizzy Gladiators in the Purple League.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, Glizzy Gladiators breaking breaking the stigmatism. So I guess it just still applies to Division 1 at this point. Anyway, so we got the Trash Pandas taking on the Avocabros. We know the Trash Pandas, who a season ago took out the reigning champs from the spring season, which was the LA Wolves of the OC. They're coming back in here to look for a playoff run to get to the big championship game. They get a pretty tough opponent in the Avocabros, who we know has a lot of offense. They do have some issues on pitching, but other than that, they keep up when they are really striking on offense. But unfortunately, that's not really what the case was here. Trash Pandas came out swinging hard with a win of 10 plus runs in this divisional game, and that helped them advance to play the number 1 seed in the Purple Huskies.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did not get an exact score for this game. We're not sure how what exactly it was, but we do know it was a win by 10 plus runs. We saw the Trash Pandas and Avocabros play each other in the final week of the regular season, and we saw the Trash Pandas defeat the Avocabros 19-8. So we saw more of that on Monday nights. This was a 5:30 game on Monday, so. Unfortunately for the Avocabros, their season comes to an end. I appreciate you guys coming out and playing. Hopefully to see you guys for the winter season. But for right now, Trash Pandas move on. They move on to where they were last year. Last year they had the upsets and taking down the other Wolves of OC, which I'm still might be maybe not a little bitter about, or probably not, but whatever. Nothing against them. I'm just kind of bitter about the way we played and stuff, but. Trash Pandas, they do get the job here. Not an upset this time, as they were the higher seed, but they look to take on the Purple Huskies next.
Yeah, so the Purple Huskies, as we know, were runner-ups last season against the Beach City Bombers, as we both of us called that game, analyzed all the entire World Series for that. But Purple Huskies are looking to try to return to the World Series. This time they are the number 1 seed, and unfortunately, the Trash Pandas came out fighting. They really gave it to the Purple Huskies in this, and they swept Purple Huskies all the way through, which was aside from what we expected, which is insane. We thought, I'm pretty sure we both thought that this thing would go to 3 games and Purple Huskies were probably going to come out on top. But Trash Pandas changed the agenda on us, and they win the first game 10-3 with a ton of offense. And then game 2, Trash Pandas threw a shutout against the Purple Huskies, advancing them to their first World Series appearance in their franchise history.
Yeah, this is the position where they got swept last year by the eventual champions, the Beach City Bombers, in the semifinals. But they took matters into their own hands. They stayed hot from game 1, continued the bats, and got them rolling. I know we talked a little bit with Joey Ponder about their performance in the Division 1 playoffs. They just couldn't get the bats going. They had the Trash Pandas do have some great defense, which we'll talk more later as we talk about their World Series games. But overall, we were able to get the offense going. They were able to score some runs off of True and Drake, something we hadn't seen too much this year, as True and Drake actually had the 2 lowest ERAs in Division 1, with your boy finishing 3rd. But we're not talking about me. We're talking about them. But it was a bit of a surprise to see that. Winning one game is one thing, but then to see the Purple Huskies get swept and not score a single run in game 2 is very unlike them. They had they're one of the higher scoring teams in the regular season, just behind the Avocabros and the MS Warriors. So they were able to get a lot of runs across during the regular season. Obviously, that led to them getting an 11-1 record, and they actually had the best run differential in the regular season. But it's just something about that number 1 seed, just unable to get the job done in the playoffs, unable to win a game, unfortunately for them. And Trash Pandas do what many people thought was not possible: defeat the Purple Huskies and move on to the next round to the World Series.
Yeah, it was a big change in the ideal there with the Trash Pandas sweeping the Purple Huskies, and like we said, that curse still lives well with Division 1. So if you're looking to play in the winter season and you end up getting the first round seed, you should be maybe a little bit afraid, which is an interesting story to talk about, and we'll get into that once we finish all these games. But let's flip it over to the LA Wolves OC taking on.
Actually, before you do that,
Okay.
Just talking about Purple Huskies for the last time.
Sure.
Appreciate you guys coming out. You guys did have a great regular season, finishing 11-1. There have been some rumors about them possibly not coming back for the winter season, availability wise and other stuff. But if they're not back, we always appreciate you guys coming out here. And giving a lot of teams a business. I know you guys beat every team except for MS Warriors one time, and then the Trash Pandas in the playoffs. So congratulations on another great season. Unfortunately, Drake not able to make it back to the World Series after losing Game 3 last year to the Beach City Bombers. But we'll see about the future of the Purple Huskies.
Yeah, and if that story is true, it's going to be tough to have this league without them. We have always had a great rivalry against their team, just like this regular season where had the chance to tie up that game against the Purple Huskies in the regular season, and then Drake making that miraculous catch at the very end. It's always been a tough challenge against that team, and we always enjoyed fighting against them. So if they're out of here, sorry to see. It's going to be tough to see them go, and hope we wish them the best in what they do in the future, and hopefully they make a return at some point. I'm not sure when that will be, but Purple Huskies, congrats on a very, very, very good season.
Yeah, congratulations. And now we can move on to the other side of the brackets where the LA Wolves OC take on the Beach City Bombers. So take it away.
Yeah, so the story of the Beach City Bombers are the reigning World Series champs from the summer season. They come in here having a pretty rough season than what they had last year, and they just managed to slip into the last seed in the playoffs after they took out Anthony Agrus's team. The big thing about this game was the question was whether they were going to have Zach. He did show up in the last part of the regular season, helped them grab a dub. Unfortunately, he did not show up to this game, and that was really kind of the kicker in the door for this game, set the tone basically of where this would go. They had Tyler there, but once we know for sure if you don't have a second pitcher, it kind of gets kind of tough once you get through that first pitcher. So LA Wolves OC taking on the Beach City Bombers took this victory 10-0, giving the Beach City Bombers a shutout and immediately taking them out of the playoff picture. After winning the World Series a season ago, and unfortunately they didn't have Zach Moore there, and the circumstances were just against them in this game. But they had a great season, honestly, even though they had some absences on that side of the roster. But it seemed like they were having fun and they were having a good time.
Yeah, this is a matchup between the two previous World Series winners. The Wolves OC won in the spring, as we mentioned before. And the Beach City Bombers just won the most recent one. Without Zach Moore, things are a little more difficult. But right away, Beach City Bombers had a chance to score in the first inning, but unable to. And then from then on, it was the LA Wolves OC show. This will be a theme throughout the playoffs for the LA Wolves OC. But the hitting of Stephen Hayden was absolutely huge for this team. Dylan Menji, we got things going. We got a home run to make it a 2-0 game. Dustin was seeing the ball really well. Justin Lee added a home run of his own later in the game. And then the Beach City Bombers tested in some different pitchers just to see how things would work. But they'll see we're putting on runs. Steven pitched the first 3 innings, didn't give up a run. Dustin pitched the fourth. Was dealing with some arm issues on Monday, but didn't give him a run in the fourth inning. And then Jordan came in, closed out the fifth and the sixth to make it a 10-0 ball game as things finish up, and we see in the LA Wolves OC take on the MS Warriors in the next round. So, congratulations to the Beach City Bombers. You guys had a game for your lives last week versus Shepherd's Pie to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, you guys ran into into a team who was clicking at the right time, and we'll see. We'll see how things are different next season for the Beach City Bombers. See if things are any different at all. We'll see about the availability of Zach, or if there's anyone else that gets picked up by them. So we will see them for the winter season, but for now, we'll see do move on.
Yeah, great story for the LAUSA OC. They make their return back into the deeper part of the playoffs after getting taken out by the Trash Pandas, which we'll talk about, who obviously make it to the World Series. So this would be a rematch of that game, but they had to go through the MS Warriors first, who ended up in the second seed after the LAUSA OC handed them a loss, and they originally had the first seed after taking out Purple Huskies and handing them their first loss of the season, and then they jumped in front, but then LAUSA OC took them down, right back down to earth after a regular season victory in that game. It was just great to see a lot of their big support guys like Dylan and Justin and Jordan really getting the bats going, and then obviously Stephen Hayden doing his thing. That was kind of the big thing here, and they had Dustin Staggs this time on the pitching side of things, and as we get here into the first game, it's always a tough fight between these two teams because of that historic rivalry they have. Obviously the MS Warriors, formerly known as the Plastic Pitches, we know that great rivalry hand in hand. We know it a lot, pretty well, so this was a great series if you are a big fan of watching some close games. The first game was extremely close. 2-0 was that final score in that game one, and Dustin Staggs and Stephen Hayden took the mound and really pitched a great game, and some minimal offense there, but Stephen Hayden really was showing out with the bats, and they were getting the runs through, and it was a great game in that first game.
Stephen Hayden took the mound for the Yellow Wolves. Not much of a shock there. A little bit of a shock there for the MS Warriors was that Shaden Hendrickson took the rock to start game one. In previous seasons we had seen Dylan start the game. Dylan Hoffman by that was what I mean, but Shaden took the rock. He was both pitchers are pitching very good. Steven pitched first 3 innings. Did not allow a single run. Actually, the first 2 innings, I think he had 5 or 6 strikeouts and had a perfect game going through 2 innings. And Shane doing real good stuff on the mound. So I think there was a good defensive player too behind him to keep runs off the board. But as the game kept moving on, just no one was really able to get that run across until the top of the 4th inning. I believe it was the top of the 4th inning, in which Stephen Hayden, leading off the top of the 4th, first pitch he sees, Dylan Hoffman leaves a drop ball a little too much in the middle of the plate, and he slams one. It was one of those you look at it. He actually hit it. And by he, I mean me. I actually hit that ball about as perfect as you can. So a little physics lesson with ball, as hopefully Justin's shown the video. If depending on how a pitch moves, if you hit it perfectly in the middle and on the screws, the ball is actually going to move the exact opposite of how the pitch came into the zone. So as you can see, Dylan threw a drop pitch He threw a drop pitch that went down and out, so it went like this. And when I hit the ball, I hit it well enough to where it did the exact same thing, and it carried to right field, make it a 1-0 game. Justin Lee had a weird off the hand home run that wasn't counted. You want to talk about that quickly?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. This was a pitch that kind of went over the top, kind of really inside, and took a swing at it, get a punch out of it because I think it was a 2-2 count. And this thing ended up coming off of my right knuckles, which even I was surprised because this thing traveled all the way beyond the outfield as a line drive home run if it stood out there. But we called it back because it came off of my wrist. Kind of sold it too because I was looking at my wrist and I could definitely feel it off my index and my middle finger. It was weird because physics-wise that shouldn't make any sense because it's more like I'm punching the ball, if anything, rather than my left hand, which is really swinging. So if you see this motion here like this, it's kind of, it was weird. Let's just put it that way. I do want to say, I guess, it hit off my hand first and then off the bat. So it was more like a double hit, basically. And I guess that's what propelled it out there. But it was it was a different sight to see, but unfortunately it didn't count.
Yeah, a little unfortunate there. I was actually turned around at the moment, and all of a sudden I just saw the ball landed in the outfield. I was like, oh, he's on a run. And then Dylan came up and quickly tried to correct him, take away that home run. But No, Ella was supposed to be able to score another run. I think in the 5th inning, Dustin came in, pitched the 4th and 5th inning, did great job. Even battling with his arm pain, he was pitching very well. And then the 6th inning came around. MS Warriors had a runner on first with 2 outs. Van Hornich up to the plate. The second pitch he saw, he hits a ground ball straight to me. And in my 4th inning of work in that game, and those was able to hold on to the 2-0 victory. A big game to start off. Last time these two teams played each other in the playoffs, we actually saw the MS Warriors win Game 1, although it was supposed to see having to win Games 2 and 3 to try to advance. But I also see deciding to jump out on the right foot and get the victory in Game 1. So first game ends 2-0, and then we now move on to Game 2.
Yeah, this was a great game overall. Obviously, the mentality coming out here had to have Jordan go out there. If he was having troubles at the very beginning of the game, then you'd have Steven go out there. But giving your top pitchers a little bit extra rest in case, and if needed, then save those arms for Game 3, which is would be the most important one. But always winning Game 1 is extremely important if you want to set the tone. Game 2 is when you kind of wonder if what your position is at the very moment and where to put your guys out there. So Jordan Drexler came in, very first inning, gave up 2 home runs right off the bat, allowed the MS Warriors to get up to a 2-0 score to start off, and then come later in the game, Jordan Drexler, who was kind of struggling in the first game a little bit, and then back into the second game, he started hitting the ball a lot harder, and then a very clutch moment for him, after giving up 2 home runs in the very first, coming back with a 3-run home run himself and giving the Ellie Wilson OC the lead in that game. And talk about getting your runs back in +1. It turned out to be the determining factor in this game and allowed the Ellie Wilson OC to make it back to the World Series for the second time in the franchise history.
That they do. Right away, first, Jordan Drexler, he didn't pitch in Game 1, so I decided to give him the start in Game 2. I know the MS Warriors do like to face him compared to when they're facing me and Dustin, but I thought a different look would be good. But right away, first pitch, Hayden Hendrickson takes the ball to right field way over my head for a home run. And then third bat of the inning, Matt Hornish gets a solo home run himself to make it a 2-0 ball game. So it's kind of like, okay, we got a battle here. You got to find a way on. I believe it was the bottom of the 3rd inning is when Jordan Drexler, he had 2 outs. Shaden started the game, pitched the first 2 innings. He pitched very well. Steven did have a robbed home run in the outfield on a very great play by Garrett Munoz. Seems to be a common theme. Garrett Munoz robbing Steven with a great play in the playoffs. But in the 3rd inning, 2 outs. Hendrickson with those little drop balls. Jordan Drexler able to take it to right field for a 3-run home run. So Jordan hits his home run in the 3rd inning, put the Louis Mosi up 3-2. That was all those guys needed. Dustin Staggs came in, even with his arm problems. He came up on the mound, pitched 3 great scoreless innings, kept it a 3-2 game, and now Louis Mosi able to move on. However, there was. I'm not sure if this was Game 1 or Game 2 when this happened, but I do want to talk to you about. Hopefully, you'll put this video in there. We may have seen one of the hardest pitches in OC football history, and it did end with almost a casualty and a concussion to the one Stephen Hayden to lead off one of the innings from Dylan Hoffman. That we can actually see you in the video here. You're actually flinching yourself. What did you see here? Because I know what I saw because I wore that. It's like a cape.
Yeah, so when you're watching TV and you're watching say a baseball game or a football game, and then all of a sudden the football the dude gets lit up or the batter gets hit by a pitch and everyone goes ugh like that. That's basically what happened. I saw the hardest thrown pitch I've ever seen Dylan Hoffman throw since his MLB days. And obviously he's got the arm from his uncle Trevor. Threw this one at your head and bounced right off of it. It sounded like a bell for where I was standing, but I felt the impact from that ball, man. It was hit you squared on the head. Saw you on the ground. Dylan was like, "Oh man," and I flinched because I was like, "Whoa! What just happened?" like that kind of deal. So it was a funny moment. Dustin and I were joking about it. If you had a hat or more hair on top, maybe you'd feel the cushion of it. But I think that thing was too fast for you to really not feel the full force of that ball. It was a pretty funny moment, but I'm just glad you didn't get a concussion.
Luckily that was just a wolf ball as well. If I was wearing a hat, if I had more hair, I'm still feeling 80 miles an hour to the head. You can see in the video, the radar gun actually shows it was exactly 80 miles an hour. But let's just say Dylan's first thought was not the fact that he thought it hit my head.
That was a foul ball.
Yeah, he thought it hit my bat. So you see him pointing in the video. He's pointing to say, "Hey, that was a foul ball. It was a foul ball." And I'm like, I just was not answering. I mean, you could tell by the video it hit my head. And I wasn't trying to fake it. I immediately went to my head. And I mean, I was fine. I was fine. It's a wolf ball. It doesn't hurt that much.
Yeah.
But there's some other incidents earlier in the year with guys accidentally getting hit in the head.
Where that?
Yeah, I think this video showed people how to wear it like an absolute champ, and Dylan was very apologetic as well. He did not mean to do that. He was still texting me late Tuesday night, even after this series was. Monday night after the series was over, and we got a good joke good kick out of it out of practice as this video was being shown to people, and you can see my facial reaction right as it happens. It's a pretty funny face reaction because I get hit and then my head goes up and I kind of go like stuff like that. So that was just first instinct. That's just what happens. So but overall, it was supposed to be able to move on to their second World Series and sets the stage for the Ellis of OC versus the Trash Pandas on Tuesday night.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to them as Warriors. I believe they're also part of that conversation of not returning for the winter season. So again, for them, we've had this rivalry for a long time now. It's definitely unfortunate that they won't be back. We will miss them greatly. We know some of their players are going to be floating around too, including the Purple Huskies. Who knows what will happen with that? We had Joey Ponder on here, so don't know what's going on with that. But definitely we'll miss those guys. We've really had a long history with each other in the Sand Series and the regular season. They're a great group of guys. Obviously, Dylan's your head coach at Westcliff now, which is a great honor for him. And you get to see a lot of those guys still. But they had a great season. They really came out and showed their teeth, and they unfortunately both of the first two seeds got knocked out in the championship series.
Yeah, the MS Warriors had a great regular season. They went 10-2, only losing once to the Purple Huskies and once to the Ellisville C. As we mentioned, these two teams saw each other in Week 9, and Ellisville C took the victory 13-4. They continued this streak, not as big of a score, but the same result nonetheless. And who would have thought, in an 8-4 team would be playing a 5-7 team in the World Series? It's just one of those. It's like you never know.
Never know. Well, let's.
Never would have guessed it.
Never would have. Yeah, never would have thought. Well, here we are. My prediction was still alive as it stands right now, but LA OC taking on the Trash Pandas. Again, this is the rematch from last season in the divisional round when the Trash Pandas ended up beating the LA OC in extra innings, but it was a different team, different look. LA OC had a total of 8 guys, I believe, in that game that ultimately led to a failure to getting back to the playoffs in that game. But this is a rematch. The LA OC have 5 guys. They have some top-tier pitching with Dustin, and Steven, and Jordan headlining that three-headed dog. And, talk about the first game. Basically, a big offensive showing. 11-3 was the final score in the first game. LA OC jump out in front for the first game on a Tuesday night. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, so, with this one, the Trash Pandas actually jumped out to an early lead. Steven Hayden stepped onto the mound, and Michael Haskell hitting a pitch, inside pitch. Was pretty close on the hands. It was a bit of a jam shot. It hits it to left field for a 2-run homer to get things off. It started off. Then we'll see come right back. They first 2 batters and Dustin and Steven got on base. Then Jordan Drescher hits a 3-run home run, and then from that point on, it was kind of the LA Wolf show. Just find a way to get on base. They were hitting a lot. There's a big theme was the offensive production from the two top spots, and Dustin and Steven. That was huge for these team for the team. It's, pretty much two guys that are guaranteed to be on base 9 out of 10 times. Steven had another home run late in the bottom of the fifth inning at the grand slam, which officially made it 11-3. Also, Dustin had a grand slam to make it 7-3 earlier in the game, which kind of broke the game open. Steven pitched the first 3 innings and followed up by Dustin, whose arm pain was feeling better magically in that game compared to Monday. Both of them pitched 3. They were able to get the job done. Steven gave up 2 runs, and actually I think it might have been 11-4. I apologize, but if 11-3 or 11-4, whatever. Dustin, I believe, gave up 1 home run on just a solo home run, but we'll also see taking a big commanding lead into game 1, kind of setting the tables and trying to show their dominance to go and take on game 2.
Yeah, moving on into game 2, this was a chance for the Trash Pandas to really fight back and try to jump back and even up the series against Eliosa OC. This was actually an even tougher fight in the second game. The pitching was firing on all cylinders, but the Trash Pandas, obviously their offense, when they start turning things on, they really start coming back in their ways. But ultimately, we crown a new champion. Eliosa OC have returned to the podium. And in this game, 6-5, the final score. In this game, as team captain, what were your thoughts about this second title and this second game?
Trash Pandas put up a great fight. They were seeing me very well. Right away in the first inning, they scored 4 runs. Whether it was stuff inside of the bat, off the end of the bat, and from what I saw. Things just were not going Steven's way on the mound as compared to yesterday. Pitched the first inning, allowed 4 runs, already a 4-0 game. But Steven did help himself out, hit a solo home run in the first inning. Actually, Dustin got robbed of a solo home run himself in the first inning with some great defense in the outfield. But Steven had a solo home run in the first, a 2-run home run in the second, making a 4-3 game. And Jordan Dressler made his way back onto the mound again. Pitched 3 great innings, only allowing 1 run. As the score kept going, it ended up being at one point it was a 5-3 ball game. In the top of the 5th of this game, the Trash Pandas were the home team. OC were up to bat. They were able to work walks and be patient and find a way to get 3 runs in, making a 6-5 ball game. And at that point, the Trash Pandas nightmare, Dustin Stagg, stepped up to the mound, finished off the last 2 innings. You can see the last pitch doing a little sidestep slider. We got a foul ball to end that World Series. The only sweep in the World Series in which the LOC defeats the Trash Pandas, and they win that one, and they win that second game 6-5 in a very good battle between two really good teams.
Yeah, so for the second time in their franchise history, they get their championship in the same year. So now they've got the spring title and the fall title. They got a summer tournament title, which is fantastic. And the Eliosa OC are going to get another plaque on the board. And let me ask your thoughts overall on who do you think the World Series MVP overall in this series was. I think it's somewhat obvious.
I don't think it's quite as obvious as you may think for this. I think this could be a similar situation to what we saw in the spring. You could have a couple co-MVPs. Dustin Staggs doing great things both on the mound and offensively. And Steven had a good first game pitching, but kind of struggling in that second game, but was really picking things up offensively. You can kind of say it was you could give both of them a kind of a co-MVP, which is something we didn't really discuss on the field. It's just one of those things. We were happy we won. Then people had other stuff to go do. People have had midterms that week. You had to leave right away. Dustin and Jordan all had to leave right away right afterwards. So it's one of those things we didn't even discuss with, but it could be getting a co MVP in Dustin and Steven for that game. But I'm not too sure. Jordan had a great World Series as well. Got things going off that 3-run home run, and then had a great 3 innings pitching. But it's tough to make a decision on that one for me.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely make that argument with the pitching of Dustin Staggs and Steven's offensive numbers. So I think it's fair enough to really say that there was kind of a co-MVP in this. But defensive MVP, if they won, would have been off the Trash Pandas. They had some really great defense in this series, and there was one man working the entire time out there, and we got some really great video of him making a one-handed catch out there, getting one off of Dustin Staggs as well, and kind of flying all over the place. I mean, he was definitely out there, and if the Trash Pandas won, he definitely would have been the big contributor for their team for the reason why they would have won the World Series. But defensive-wise, fantastic.
Yeah, I know it was a great series overall. I think the Trash Pandas are very well set up for the future. I could see this. I talked a little bit to Michael Haskup afterwards. I could see this team making it back to the World Series and potentially winning a World Series in the future. I think it's a possibility for them. They came into the league in the summer as a team who had the offense. A lot of former college players, former college hitters, but they had to figure out the pitching first, and then we've really seen the growth of Mo Wright and especially of Blake Fitzgerald on the mound. So I think they're well set for the future, and I would not be surprised if they come away with this winter season with a World Series. I think these two teams in the World Series are probably the favorites right now, but I mean, who knows what can happen with this next season.
Yeah, I think so too. They really have put themselves on this scene. After taking the LA OC down a season ago, making it to the World Series, they could become the next contender. Especially if we're talking about the MS Warriors and the Purple Huskies taking a break and stepping away from the league. They could take over that spot and replace them in that power grab for sure. I think they'll be around for seasons to come. And obviously, we get to start the winter season coming up here on Tuesday. But for sure, they're gonna come back. They're gonna be hungry to get that title. They want to get back to that for sure. But they had a really great season. Seriously, upsetting the Purple Huskies in their bracket and really making a name for themselves, getting all the way to the World Series. But congrats to them. But on the other side of things, LA OC get their second title. As manager, you had some great expectations out there. You have any final thoughts about this victory overall?
It was a great team battle. It took good hitting from different players in the right moments to get the job done. I will say with this, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Greg Gualtieri, who unfortunately was not around for the playoffs, he does become the winningest player in OC football history. That marks his third OC football championship. He won one of the two with the Wise guys. One in the fall, both in the fall actually. Greg has only won the fall World Series so far. As I'm just thinking about it right now. In the fall 2021 and the spring 2020. In the fall 2022. And before the fall World Series had only been won by the Wise guys, and with them not being around, someone had to come around and take the mantle, and turns out to be a second-time winner in the LA Wolves of OC. With this one, I assembled a good group. I even split us up into two teams. I brought in some guys from different from different areas of wiffle ball. I know the guys of the Trash Pandas are they do not like playing against Dustin at all. I brought Dustin in from another league. You guys like James, they came from outside and came into OC football for the first time. Both those guys had a lot of success. And Greg came back from a season back, had some moments of brilliance out there. Things overall were very good for us. We'll have to have a couple changes. We'll have a couple people unavailable, such as Greg will be unavailable for the winter season, and Dylan Menji will be unavailable. But we're looking to fill those spots pretty soon as the next season starts pretty soon.
Yeah, it's right around the corner, and Congrats to Owusu OC for getting that another victory on their hands. They'll return for the winter season, defending that title, and that instantly puts another target on their back, as happened in the spring season. But another patch to add to the jersey, which would be amazing, and then obviously to get that trophy would be pretty sweet. But congrats to everybody this season in the fall time. Had a great time out there. Really saw a lot of different aspects. We really changed the league with the divisions this year, so it was a change of scenery with the way things are done. I think it was a better outcome this season than previous seasons before, especially when you have more chances for a lot of teams to make it to the title game. Instead of putting them into weird, awkward situations. Between the balance of really good teams that win consistently, and then teams that really didn't have a second pitcher but knew how to play pretty good, and then obviously for people who just want to have fun, which was what the Purple League was. And I think it was a great turnout. Honestly, I really liked all of the energy that was happening around all the fields, and to see a lot of these big games. Like Division 2, we had a walk-off, which is crazy. Purple League, they also won theirs in a really close series, and then obviously Division 1 was the main one, also pretty close in that own retrospect. But I think it was a really great season, honestly.
Yeah, we saw the most teams in the league so far in the league's history. We had 18 teams across the 3 divisions. Not sure how many we'll have for the winter season, but that one's coming up pretty soon. The spring season could possibly be even bigger. Winter season's a little tough for some teams with scheduling, but we'll see what happens. Good things are looking to come. Speaking about us, we didn't defend our title very well in the summer season, so we're looking to try to change that a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be a different story as we were gonna start writing it almost immediately coming up on Tuesday. So I think it's a good time to really kind of preview what we've got going on in the next episode. We have some great guests on this episode. Thank you to Michael Vees and Joey Ponder for being on. It looks like next week we'll obviously be talking about what happened in the first week of play, as it's gonna happen on Tuesday, and while this is happening, and then we'll also include award winners and All-American team picks on the next podcast. So we'll kind of cover basically everybody who deserves recognition, and we get a little bit of help with the new leaderboard stats that we've got on OCWoofball.com. But again, thank you to our audience for really sticking with us here throughout these episodes every week. It's a definitely a workload to get these out, but obviously we do it to get it out to the viewers and give people the recognition they deserve, and make sure everybody gets a little talk time on the That Scuffed podcast. So if you got any final thoughts, Steven, we're very close to the end here, my friend.
Yeah, congratulations to all the winners. Things start up real quick. Gotta forget about things. As Jordan said when we won the Spring World Series on the podcast, he said he kind of wanted to just get right back into playing and start winning right again. Well, this is his chance. Last time we won, we had a 2-week break. This time we got a 1-week break. So things will be going right again very soon. Worlds will probably come out. I would guess in week 2. We will see everyone out there.
Alrighty. Well, this has been Steven and Justin. If you don't follow the official OC Football Instagram, make sure you guys go follow that. And then obviously on this channel, hit the subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit the bell if you want to get all the notifications for every new episode. Obviously, we'll bring out these every single week and roll it out to you guys. Thank you to Steven for being here in short notice. Obviously, having some fun over there in Arizona and having a good time. And then thank you to everybody that's watching this. I know I've said it way too many times, but seriously, the reason why we make these out. So we'll see you guys pretty soon in episode 29, and we'll see you guys next time. Justin Lee, Stephen Hayden for That Scuffed Up. We'll see you guys later.
2 times.